Because from a conventional approach, I think we have seen, but with ControlCase, I think that has been an excellent experience. But with other organizations, anybody who is basically auditing, some people are, really not having that background. So first challenge was to have the right set of people who would be auditing you. The person who's auditing you may not understand the entire dynamics of the fintech. That is one of the major challenge we faced. And then eventually when we started partnering with ControlCase, I think that is something which was resolved as well. So that's primarily for a small to medium company or for a startup to scale it to a very big level, which is now billions of users, billions of lending which have been given in the entire Philippines. I guess that's something which was a major challenge for us.
Okay, so the takeaway I get from that is that the speed of business has gone up volumes in the past few years, right? You need to put your service or product out in the market. At the same time, you need to comply with multiple regulations as well. If you don't do that, you will not be able to do business. So, you're looking for auditors who are well versed with the compliances and the regulations. They know, what is to be done, how to adapt to your business. That is very important. A generic approach is obviously, not going to work over here. They need to understand your business. They need to understand your timelines, which is the most important thing. And, it has to be a very tailor-made approach. So that is one challenge that you found, and the solution to that is to have an auditor who gives you a tailor-made approach.
Hello. There you go. For me, it would be, and this is based on my experience, it was not mapped out correctly. What do I mean by this? In any audit or any certification that you need as a company, you need to map out first. And that is something that is most often than not missing in any certification. I'll give you an example. When I started with Support Ninja, nothing was mapped out, meaning to say, I dive into an audit or a certification which is, we are not even ready. They told me that, oh, by the way, where are the evidence? There was this one folder with 300 evidence. And by that time, I would like to quit because you have to sort it out. So what happened moving forward, together with the help of with ControlCase, is that I had to map it out to know which regulatory requirement needs specific evidence. And that made me an OCD person, and that made me faster in terms of acquiring the certificate needed. For a 4-month certificate process, me and my team were able to do and finish it in 1 month. Yes, you could ask the project manager. If Vinita's here, Vinita would be my testament on this one, because we will be able to finish it in 1 month. Why? Because we were able to map it out correctly. And then have that versus on the other multiple certification needed, it will be easier. And I believe that is the biggest challenge that a lot of companies are facing. They did not map it correctly. So I test you, and I'm telling everyone here who will undergo a certification, please map it out correctly. You will be able to finish it as early as possible.
So what I understand, Melvin, is that the readiness for the certification before going for the certification is very important, right? If you have 10 hours to chop a tree, you should spend 9 hours sharpening your axe, right? You should keep things ready and then go for the certification so that your efforts are not wasted. There's no redundancy. You get the certification in one go, and things are smooth. When you actually get down to the audit, get down to providing the evidences, and closing out the final stages and getting your certification done.
Yes, that is correct. And that only helps not only the company that you are, but also with ControlCase who's managing the audit. It makes things easier, smoother, and faster for everyone.
Thank you, Melvin. Yes, Kay.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
So basically, there are several challenges in the organizations. So our company is actually catering for POS terminal network services in the Philippines. So basically, there are several challenges that banks that we cater experience, which are the phishing, the fake accounts, the cyber crimes. So these are all impacting our business because the network services should be secured. And at the same time, in our industry, it is important to find a reliable partner, not just the current requirements, but also a partner that can have a vision of identifying the rest of the other requirements that will really safeguard the organization when it comes to transactions. So it is important that there is a reliable and a partner that has good track record when it comes to this kind of services. Because in the industry of POS network in the Philippines, we are just mandated by the government and at the same time by the banks to ensure that we maintain our certificate. So while maintaining our certificate, we want to have a peace of mind that there is a partner like ControlCase that ensures us that there is a seamless, there is the strategy is being implemented well because they are expert in the field. Because when it comes to growing regulations, standards, so we are pressed to ensure that our people are also understand the requirements. However, because of the threats, the vulnerabilities that are evolving, so our people are left unprepared. So with partnership like ControlCase, we have this peace of mind that everything is taken care of. And at the same time, we are sure that the certificate is maintained.
Thank you, Kay. So the takeaway I get from this is that you're not looking for the security vendor or the compliance vendor where it's very transactional. You're looking for the long-term partner who understands your organization, who understands your business, who understands your infrastructure, and there's a long-term partnership where compliance is achieved in the first year, it's maintained throughout the years. There's a comprehensive coverage from everything from the consulting, the project management, the cybersecurity services, a one-stop shop with whom you can have a very long and fruitful relationship to maintain your compliance. Thank you, Kay. My next question is to Praveen. So Praveen, how important do you think is qualifications of a company such as the approved scanning vendor for PCI DSS? How important is that in selecting a vendor for penetration testing or services or cybersecurity services in general?
All right, I'll try to connect it with the live example which we normally face. So every company has a different requirement in terms of how they select their vendors, in terms of having some qualifications for a particular company, whether they are dealing in a consulting or a security testing. So what we have as a policy, I mean, that's why when I think somebody was asking a question to the audience that how many of you are having multiple services of ControlCase? Yeah. So we have an internal policy of, segregating different areas to different vendors. Right. So as a result, what happens that, let's say if one area goes to, for an example, to ControlCase, the other area goes to another company. And we keep rotating that in terms of maintaining the independence as well as the quality of service which is received. So there is an annual process which we follow that, okay, this was company one, where we got this much result, and this was company two, and then we got, this is the type of result which we got. So we do sort of a qualitative comparison, and not just that, maybe I will try to relate it with, I'm sure everybody is from a security background, so they would relate it better. We have an annual testing which is done, which is called SERP testing, which is Security Incident Response testing basically, where we do sort of an attack simulation as well, where we will have two people for a particular network which will be given to them, and they will be finding out different faults within the entire network, whether it is a cloud or an on-site environment. So that's where you really test the testers, right? Yeah. That's where that, and for an example, if we have any issues in our app, for an example, which is what is running on Android or on iOS, so that testing, that live testing which is done, that basically gives you an entire idea. And at the same time, I guess we also ramp up our internal teams as well, because if something is found by the external tester, which is for an example, ControlCase, or for that matter, any other vendor, and it's not identified by our internal team, we don't basically discourage them, but we try to upskill them as well, so that you work in hand with the vendor and make sure that the overall testing quality is better. As far as approved scanning vendor is concerned, I guess I can't go to any other vendor and then get the external scan done, because there has to be an approved scanning vendor which is listed on the council. So you have to follow that, but at the same time you also follow, as I said, the same method of quality testing. If you give me something which is not really uncovering the vulnerabilities in my environment, and the other guy is doing it, which means that there's something wrong which you're doing, right? So that's how I think we try to evaluate and assess the vendor. Yeah.
Thank you, Praveen. Melvin, I have the next question for you. Most of the compliances and regulations which require security testing activities, they define the frequency of these activities, right? Some are to be done quarterly, some are to be done annually, some are to be done twice a year. How do you determine for your organization whether vulnerability assessment and penetration testing activities, whether additional frequency is required or additional scans are required? Are you satisfied with just satisfying the compliance requirement, where they ask for specific scans, or are you fond of performing more frequent vulnerability assessments and penetration testing? And how do you determine the frequency and whether the additional scans are required or not?
Okay. In the real setup, you will just only requiring what is needed, right? But as a company and as a advocate of information security, you have to go above and beyond, meaning to say you have to do more frequent scanning, especially nowadays that social engineering have been more than creative since the pandemic. There are other ways of doing it and other forms of how to get those information. So scanning needs to be done on a frequent basis. If your company would be able to do it on a weekly basis, much better. I know it would be a tedious task, but then again, that is the very first step wherein you could already see the patterns. You could already see what are the red flags that you're seeing once you do the scanning. Yes, like what I said, it would be costly, and it would be time-consuming and manpower as well. But at the end of the day, we value the data, not only to the customer that we have, the clients that we have, but also you have to also consider the regulatory penalties. It could go to millions of dollars, and that is something that, yes, you could pay, but then again, you have to also think about the reputation of your company. Because having a torn reputation is very difficult to get up. I rather spend money doing multiple scans to secure the data and the information rather than just doing the bare minimum.
So it's always better to have more frequent scanning and testing than the bare minimum that is required. But at the same time, the data should be used effectively. The scanning and testing should be cost effective. It should be efficient, and it should fulfill the goal of improving the overall security posture of your organization.
Yes, that is correct. That's something that we've done with ControlCase, and that this is something that we might be looking into in the next few months. I might be talking to Suresh after this.
We'll look forward to that.
Thank you.
Okay. I would love to chat with you guys, all day on this, but we have to, conclude this particular panel. So thank you very much, Praveen, Melvin, Kay. Thank you for joining us. It was excellent talking to you, and I'll now hand it over to Suresh sir and Mike to felicitate you. Thank you. Thank you, Praveen.
So I think these
Thank
are
you,
the panel members of these three companies, known to me from the day the company started. Yeah, and me means through Mitch, of course. Mitch is the main architect, but I really feel proud of their achievements and wish you all the best. So let me call upon Praveen. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so thank you very much. And since we are delayed to start the lunch, I think if it's possible, let's have a 45 minutes break from now and meet at 2:15, if possible. Otherwise, 2:30 we read the latest, 1 hour. Okay, please make it 2:45. Thank you.
That is why we have now decided that we will have you engaged by one of ControlCase's most eloquent and engaging speaker, Mr. Suresh Dadlani, Global President, ControlCase. And he will be leading the presentation along with Junaid Sheikh, Assistant Vice President, and Rashmi Richaria, Assistant Vice President. The session is on professional services, bridging security and compliance. Sir.
Reverse. Go back. Okay. Hello, can you hear me? Okay, friends, I understand that after lunch, it's very difficult to absorb, but I'll do my best to see that we do it. Basically, it has to happen primarily because the session we are going to have is identifying pain points and relieving pain points. Right from the time a product or compliance is conceived till the point it is achieved, and most importantly, after achievement, how do we maintain it? And at the same time, how do we have multiple compliances which come in, and when they happen to be matured, how do we maintain that? Nothing is constant. The world is dynamic. Everything is changing. So even after you achieve compliance, technology, people, processes, standards, they will keep changing. How do you achieve that and maintain that? Because it's not your business. Compliance is not your business. Compliance is your requirement. And therefore, how do we achieve that? We at ControlCase in professional services, our job is to offer you services to attain, maintain, and retain compliances under all changing scenario. So when I looked at, primarily, my presentation is derived out of my meeting my esteemed clients when I go and meet them, which is very often. And I realize by putting myself into their shoes, what are the issues they face as we progress. And the issues are common. It's like anatomy of a human being, anatomy of a compliance. That from the time the compliance is conceived till it is born, and from the time when you achieve compliance, you need something like a gynecologist, you need something like a physician, you need something like a pediatrician, and then when the family grows, you need a family doctor. And no two people are identical, so the issues will be different from people to people. And you still need somebody to attend to that. So this professional services is devised in such a way that we can offer the services of all the specialized doctor and then specialty hospitals put together to achieve and maintain compliances. How do we do that? So when we look at that, our goal is to first create a foundation for you, a foundation of everything which, with all the changes, will be supporting you in attaining, maintaining, and retaining compliances. The stronger the foundation, for achieving the foundation or for achieving anything new, you need to have a strategy and roadmap. The compliances are not only global. When I talk about global compliances, we have more than 40 global compliances. But then each country, and within countries, sometimes regions, they have their own compliances. And therefore, the number of compliances keep multiplying. You have limited time, limited resource, limited cost. And we have to assist you to maintain that. Then comes the readiness, whether it's privacy or any like where Satya left, or where Omkar left, or where Weber left. Everywhere the pain point was readiness. How do we prepare you? So we have to be your partner, trusted partner in readiness. And at times, and which is becoming more common, you do not have specific resource. The reason is not that you cannot have. The reason is that even if you have one resource, start doing it, and he leaves, and you are left in high and dry. So you need to have some company which can give you bench strength of contingency to be met, whether the scope increases, you need more than one person, or the person leaves, you need a replacement. So in last 2-3 years, I think I have been seeing in most of the part of this region that you need a resource, either, for example, to maintain IT GRC. You need a resource to conduct 3, 6, 4 months project as to meet this government requirement to achieve compliance to a privacy regulation. You need resource to continuously doing security testing, cybersecurity testing of various natures, which will include VAPT or application PT or code review and so on and so forth. And for any such thing, you can't hire and train when somebody leaves. So we have become an extended arm for many, many companies around this region particularly. Now all this is required, as you can see, is because the number of people are less. The less time you are given for compliance, because you say, now this business I can only get if I'm compliant in 3 months' time. That issue comes in. And you can't create that, army. You have reasonable expert, but you don't have all expert access. You don't need them, because these are required once in a while. And you can't be hiring people of all expertise, whereas, because your business is not security, your requirement is security. Your business is not privacy, your requirement is privacy. And then, which is always true, whether big or small, limited budget. Everyone has limited. In one case, it's a real limited budget. In the second case, the limitation of getting budget sanctioned. When you grow big, the process becomes so big that you have to keep on doing various approvals. And by the time you get approvals, I think the time is gone. And therefore, the budget is criteria. Now, when I talk to these people, they say, look, I am allowed under my empowered to do up to this amount. I am empowered to give you immediate order. Please do it. And we have to manage between the two of us who said that. Because we are a partner. And then comes, can you do all these are internal jobs? Can I give it to XYZ? Because there's trust issues. And we have worked with you for, I think many of you, when we see today, felicitation, you will find I'm very fortunate that most of the clients we deal, my retention is almost 97%. 3% are those who either go out of business or are acquired and their parent company is sitting somewhere else and they say, look, I want to have common QSA or common something. We retain. And why we retain is because the most important is trust issue. We are not here to look at your issues and exploit. If somebody was looking at problem and trying to exploit, it's not a trust. You can still give a solution, but it's not sustainable. So we work with you on a sustainable basis. Now, when you have foundation, the foundation is internal and external put together. A strong foundation, a strong trust. You can easily scale up. Get one more compliance, I have to be ready. There's a team available to make you ready. There's a team available to do code review. There's a team available to do security testing. And there's a team available to give a person sitting with you as your internal member for 6 months, 1 year, 3 months, and so on. So we all offer you all those things, primarily in the areas of compliance, consulting and readiness, meet regional and local regulations, multi-standard assessment, like if you have 7 ISO standard, you don't have to do readiness 7 times. Most of these standards have a lot of things common. One audit we talked about number of compliances, but even for readiness, it's common. And when my team, when they talk later, you will see how we achieved with somebody with whom we started in 2012 with single certification. We do now 9 or 10 over a period of time, and every year we keep adding whatever they need. And then above all, we talked about one audit compliance. This is what I will come when I said when the family grows, the number of children grow, how do you maintain that? We still want to see one dashboard and not 9 dashboards, not 9 people working on that. One single dashboard, and you should get that. So this is what we are going to touch upon. Now, all these are good only when I give you good at a least cost. It's least pain, but cost is also a pain. It's not only technical side. And therefore, we have to work on optimization. When I talk about optimization, I'm sorry, but most of the time, people look at only me, my cost. But if I save your cost, which is almost equal or more than that, you never add that. So my goal is that together we are one. And together, if you find that you are spending so many man hours, so many man days, so many man weeks per month, and we reduce that by optimizing this, where your efforts have been reduced, you are able to do a certification or 15 months' time. By giving you a service for readiness, you achieve that in 4 months' time. You saved 11 months. And 11 months business you leave out, but the cost you will incur in 11 months, you should consider when you say, what is the total cost? It's internal and external put together. So I work on with you on the basis of an optimization where we offer things like readiness, cyber maturity effectiveness, local and regional compliances, privacy readiness, multi-standard, and then as Weber and others mentioned, security training. We believe, a lot of people think training is something which is a cost I should earn. It's my business. Training is not my business. Education is something which we should impart as much as possible. More I give, more I get from you. Because more you understand, more you will know what you should be doing. So I have at many times offered sessions of 2, 3, 4, 5 hours to companies that let me give you that. And if you need a detailed implementer training, obviously it is a bigger thing. But for the conceptualization, I think the training which we would like to give you is something which gives you fundamentally insight of what you are required to do. Then second is when you are required to do. And third is how you are required to do. You know all the 3 things. You don't have to have all the 3 things internally. You should know if I have to go to XYZ, then this is the place. Now, the goal of all this when I'm talking about is the trust I have created with you for last 15 years. I have currently some companies who are certified for 15 years and plus in the organization for a ControlCase. There are many companies who are 10 years plus, and there are a lot more who are 5 years plus. And those who are 1 to 5, and if I'm still alive, if I meet you after 10 years, you will see that they will be with me. they'll be all with me. So that is the basis of my trust and confidence. And then I said resource outsourcing, which will continue. So I'll be attending to less people problem, less time for compliance, expert access, and multiple compliance. And then with all that, like Troy mentioned about resilience, I think when you achieve something, it has to be sustainable and maintained. And that's where we come in through cyber maturity. One of the examples Junaid will talk. We come there with third-party risk assessment, because you cannot have security unless you are able to cover any risk which is third-party risk assessment. And then we have to, your people will keep changing. If you are growing, the organization is growing, it has the pains for the growth. Everybody expects more and more from you, and you can't give to everybody. The outsider are looking at you to take people from you. We are the one who are with you and for you, and will always be with you, with the resource pool which we have. So we have, if you have trust, which I'm sure you have, because we have been working together, and at least I don't remember a single case where I found a trust being defeated. It's not there. We have given you experts. Anybody tells us that, look, I am going to do this, can you please connect me? Even now while sitting here, I had at least 2 customers who said, Suresh, I want your expert to meet me somewhere in the evening, and I'm arranging that. So we give you, and I don't expect anything. That because of that, I need that. And then, of course, multiple compliance standard. So with that, we achieve what I talked about, stages: strategy roadmap, regional local compliances, privacy readiness, compliance consulting, multi-standard, once again, privacy, consulting readiness, cybersecurity, maturity, regional maturity, and so on. So all these things I talked, you will see that in case studies which we will present to you, through these services, and in this, there's one service which says everything which is not covered elsewhere. You can't write all the services. So anything you need in IT, security, data privacy, will generally be covered in one of these when you talk about. But if you need a service which requires skills in that area, we are open. We always talk and take it from there. Now, obviously, in all these things, we need a partnership. We need a trust, because only when you tell us what you need, we are able to work out a program which is cost-effective, scalable, with strong foundation for you to maintain that. So we achieve consulting and readiness. I think a lot of time, high trust, others compliances. Everybody talked about readiness. This is our core of professional services. Now, we want to be with you not only one day when we come for certification. We want to be with you 12 months of the year, doing something or the other for you, and you do not feel that you are paying extra. You should feel you are saving. That's where we come to maintain compliance, consulting, and readiness. Strategy roadmap, Junaid will talk about one of the case studies. Cyber maturity, he will talk about that. Regulations, you already know, and very important is, which is growing, is third-party risk assessment, which is where our own dashboard is configured with the risk management framework related to third parties. And when I configure that, and we used to do one bank which had 2,000 service providers, and they wanted to ensure that the risk management is proper as per what our expectations are. So once they give the controls, requirements, we configured that, and our configuration is very fast. And when we did that, we did the assessment for C category from remote, for B category once in a year, and A category maybe 10% twice a year. And we did that successfully for full tenure of 3 years till they developed internally. We have privacy regulations, we have security training, and above all, resource outsourcing. Now, we have used, these are all used in one form or the other globally. Like I said, ISO 27001, 27701, and so on, which Rashmi will talk about. Cybersecurity roadmap, you will hear a case study from Junaid. People, process technology, NIST, etc. It will come again. We are doing it, in fact, for one client in Dubai now, and we are in the process of completing, and maybe next time we present that case. We have regional compliances, because in this region in particular, every country, you go to Bangladesh, you go to Sri Lanka, you go to India, you go to anybody, their central bank comes out with some regulation, and when I look at mapping, 80% its privacy is GDPR. 20% different. So we already have configured that. But we have to meet those requirements, and that's what we do. So we work on that, and then rest is all which relates to one audit, that if you need more than one certification, how do we merge them to one audit so that you only look at one dashboard? If it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 compliances, you still look at one dashboard. We work on balance with what we in the morning Mike gave us vision, mission, strategy, that assess once, comply to many. So in one shot, everything is assessed. We work with you to align that, and then only certification time, they are done separately because the auditors have to be different. PCI has a QSA, ISO has lead auditor, and so on and so forth. Now, this is a study which was published by World Economic Forum, which said that we are shrinking in terms of the pool of talented, qualified people. And this will increase because the scope is growing, the requirement is growing, and people are reducing, so the demand will be high. And then there will be only two options for the people. Compromise, cut down, or pay extra cost by having such resource. All three are very difficult things. And how do you achieve that? Primarily is have somebody like us, we offer you, and we can talk to you as your trusted partner, that we can give you all that what you need. And we can give you meeting all the requirements. In time, we have a bench strength. If anybody is busy, is not fallen sick, etc., we have replacements for that, and we can give it to you. So if you can see that from 22 to 24, from 6% to 20% leaders they feel they have lack of resource of quality. And they compromise. They ask somebody to do some job which he's not capable. And till there's no problem, I think it keeps on happening. Now, when you come to the pain points, which I was talking earlier, obviously the first and most foremost thing is expert access. No organization whose business is not security, cybersecurity, will have all the experts. And they don't need to have all the experts. And you can't be having expert to utilize only 10% of his time. And therefore, we are your extended arm for that. You will always have less people, because if any growing organization needs more people. They optimize there, but still they have less people. And sometimes you have less people for projects, and that is only one-time requirement. Now you don't hire people for one time. People don't join you for one time because they are looking for a career. And for us, these people make career with us, and they are with us forever. So we offer that service to you. You have less time for compliance. Now, I'm very pleased to inform you that, in fact, some of them are here and one of them may talk about, is we gave to a company, large group, PCI, ISO, and CSA star. All the three compliances in 4.5 months' time, from start to finish. And there, the biggest impact was from professional services, readiness, everything readiness. And when we did that, certification happened almost like a byproduct. And that's what I always talk. If you have a foundation of security, the certification is byproduct. You should get it. You don't have to work for compliance and certification. So we did that. Now we have created a hygiene that when they go for recertification, they will not have any problem. If there's a trust. What I mean by trust is, we will only need to know if you're making any changes in the environment. If you're doing it, we have to tell you how to change it so that you don't disturb the compliance. If you don't disturb compliance, you don't have to worry, sleep peacefully. Leave it to us. We are there to work for them. Multiple compliance, as I mentioned earlier, they are there, and our one audit will work, and we'll talk more on that. Limited budget, we have talked already, and trust. So all these issues are our problem, not your problem anymore. So basically, when we talk to you, we always put ourselves in your shoes, and even more than that. And ensure that the solutions we offer are all budget friendly with no compromise. I always repeat that. I want you to be compliant, but without compromise. Now, that doesn't mean that every time I will be able to find a very cheap solution, but that doesn't mean that my experts have no solutions. Sometimes these solutions could be like compensating controls, which are for a period of time. And then you get time, you budget conveniently, and get into the final solution. Sometimes there are solutions which we tell you subcontract for now, this part, and do it next year, tokenization and all that. So these are the ones which we offer you. We give you expertise. I mean, we have currently, I'm again very happy to say that just before COVID, we had less than 200 people. During COVID, we added 100 people. And we are now into 20 countries. So during COVID, everybody felt that nobody is available. We were present physically in 20 countries and catering to them from A to Z because our people were there. You are allowed to meet locally, but you're not allowed to travel, you are not allowed to fly, etc., etc. So we were there, and we worked with that, and that gave us a lesson that you can expand your activities more into outside one or two locations. So now, as Mike mentioned, Colombia is one which is in the US time zone. India is there, UK is in between, US is there, and then we have Canada. Canada, originally we created as a, you can say, business continuity process. So they had a small skeleton team to cover if tomorrow there's a fire in India, earthquake in India, anything. It doesn't suffer, nothing suffers. But now it's also becoming bigger and bigger because people need more and more. Then within the country, like for example, we serve UAE a lot, we serve Middle East a lot. We said that the moment you achieve a critical mass, you should have a person or people here. And we are looking for adding in even UAE people so that they don't have to wait even for 3.5 hours for somebody to fly from Bombay to Dubai or Bombay to Kuwait and so on. So we provide expertise in every field and we keep working to give you guidance customized to you, what you need, what you expect. We also work with you to work out regulatory overlap, which is technically one audit. We map compliances and we ensure that multiple frameworks are aligned to single strategy and single framework. We simplify security control implementation to reduce your manual burden because we have, like earlier in the morning, Mike and later Satya mentioned, we are working on AI and automation. The goal is, I can't cut down the cost because my people have to be paid what they deserve, but I can cut down the efforts. And if you look at the strategy of Japan, Korea, Chinese, and Germany on automobile, when Japan came, Germany was shivering because the cost was low. When Korea came, Japan almost collapsed. And when China came, all of us collapsed. But then they started, like Japan went into robotics, automation, and so on, and they were successful. And then when Korea came, they copied again. They went into what you call as flexible manufacturing, by which a new product can be brought in less than 1 or 2 or 3 months' time. So they have a strategy that what is your pain point? My pain point is labor and labor cost. Eliminate labor. How do you eliminate labor? Eliminate labor by automation, by such processes which will help us to do that. So they worked on that. And with that, we streamlined the processes. And finally, I keep repeating, and I have no doubt that you trust us, but I keep repeating, this has to be maintained because we will never ever make money by cheating you. We want a lifelong relationship. And we'll have to live at good and bad times together. And that's, please trust us and try us at any time when you think. So having said that, I think it's my last slide, then I'll ask Junaid. So in my last slide, I will say, what is my objective? What is my objective is ensure your organization is always compliant, seamlessly and effectively. It's not that you're trying to hide something to show to somebody. You are compliant, always compliant. And I told you, always compliant is a good foundation. If you maintain that foundation, you will never disturb the compliances. And then, what I expect to achieve this from you, only thing I achieve is keep us sufficiently informed with timely updates. I'm going to make this change. I'm going to do this. I'm going to add this compliance. Now, during COVID, a lot of the BPOs who were working for hotel or airline industry had severe problem. And some of them changed their line to health, where health was required. And they would become BPO for health, monitoring how many people have this, that disease and all that. They're monitoring for that. And we immediately went to them and gave them HIPAA and high trust because we knew the environment. So if they maintain that trust, they tell us the openness and do that. And so we achieve continuous compliance, empowering your business to thrive without disruptions, and which will result into actionable insights. If I have actionable insights from you, I'll find solution. But if I don't even know the problem, I can't find a solution. So with that, let me invite my colleague, Junaid, who is expert on projects like strategy, IT security, cybersecurity strategy, roadmap to that, monitoring that, improving that. And this is something we started 1.5 years back. But I can tell you that I was surprised that the customers were very, very tough. And when I started, I was shivering. When I went to them after implementation, they complimented me. They said, you exceeded our expectation. And thanks to people like Junaid who worked on that. So Junaid, over to you.
Thank you very much, sir. We will do this together, sir, by the way. So I will quickly talk about strategy and roadmap development. Now, this is something which is interesting because even you can do this. Right? You don't need a consultant, an external partner to do this. If there is an external partner, then it is going to be, it will make a huge impact on your entire exercise. but you can yourself do it. So it'll be very beneficial for you to kind of pay attention to these only 4 slides. So what is a strategy? Now strategy is nothing but a simple process of creating a future activities, right? It is a process of creating a forward-looking framework and an action plan with timeline that can kind of answer your cyber risk problems, right, for the next few years. So that is a simple statement of strategy and roadmap development. But like Sir said, that we did this work for major organizations like National Payment Gateway and banks, and we've been successfully, kind of implemented this entire program in such big, large organizations. From all the experience, I can say that there are 4 major steps that help create a strategy and roadmap. So the first one is identifying the current state. It's like an X-ray vision of the organization. What do you have, what you don't have, identify the current security posture and the entire architecture, current architecture, right? The second step is creating a baseline architecture. How would your entire cybersecurity program look like? Can you create a visual representation of this entire thing, right? You can, and I will show it to you in the next slide. The fourth one is the roadmap, which is, activities with respect to time, when will you do it, who will do it, and all those things. And the third one. The fourth one is, identifying the successful parameters. So you will have a lot of initiatives, you have a lot of projects, but do you have the capability of executing those projects successfully? Can you implement all those initiatives? Do you have the right people to implement those initiatives, right? So that is the fourth step. Now, what is the current state assessment? Now, current state assessment is like an X-ray vision of your entire organization. Unlike other assessments like you do in PCI, ISO, which has got a certain scope and set of technologies, this is much larger, this is much bigger, where you talk to your security kind of managers and the leadership team. You talk to a lot of people, you identify the right people, the right person in the right place, doing the right thing. That is extremely important. If a person is sitting in a wrong place, trying to do something else, he will be frustrated. He won't be able to achieve things. And we've seen that this thing, kind of happening over and over in multiple organizations. So one of the biggest and important tasks is to identify the right team structure. Understand the IT roadmap, like cybersecurity is a subset of technology. It is a subset of IT. Now, what is the IT roadmap? Yeah, let's understand that. What are the technological advancements that an organization would like, kind of have for the next 2 years, 3 years? Now, AI is coming, many new technologies are coming. So we need to understand the IT strategy first before we create cybersecurity strategy, right? So all of this activity is done in this particular, kind of step. In identifying the current state. How do we do it? How can you do it? Is through creating comprehensive questionnaires that you can send to your leadership team, because they would not, kind of open up or have time to talk to you. So you can send comprehensive questionnaires. You can have in-person interviews with people, right? So these are the steps that you can take. Now, once you've done all of this, this is how your architecture would look like. Yeah. So this is a visual representation, a diagrammatic representation of your entire architecture. Now just have a look at this. Would you not like to have something like this in an organization? You would. There are many reasons. One is a talking point. For CISOs and CTOs, you can take this architecture and talk to your CEO and the board of directors and kind of try to convince them that this is what we have, this is what we don't have, right? So it becomes a very good talking point. Also, this acts as a reference for the next few years, right? There are many different types of such kind of diagrammatic representation of an architecture, but I personally like this one. The reason is that it covers many areas, many domains of cybersecurity, which is the governance, the user security, device security, application security, data security, network security, and finally the testing. Now, the reason why I like this kind of diagram is because it covers everything under the sun. You don't miss anything, right? Right. Once you've done the architecture, now you have to implement it, right? You might implement it in 3 years, 4 years, or 5 years, depends upon how would you like to have your program run. But then you can identify the priorities. Which are the initiatives that are foundational, which are the ones that are advanced, which are the ones that can be even, kind of optimized. You can optimize your entire current infrastructure. So you can divide it into phases and you can divide it into plans, right? These are all initiatives, these are all projects, right? Creating such kind of a diagram does not guarantee the successful implementation of these programs, right? So what are the things that are required for successful implementation of the entire program? So the consultant would create something more. The consultant would tell you what are the type of people, team structure that will be needed to implement such kind of initiatives, right? What is the contingency plan? He will document it for each and every initiative. He will also identify the budget needed. There are softwares involved, there are teams and partners involved, how much will they charge, right? If you have to buy a 500 software license, how much would it charge? So the consultant will identify the total budget for each initiative and a consolidated budget for all the initiatives put together. There is a possibility you could kind of combine multiple projects and then create a budget. So all of this work the consultant would do for you. Then the key performance indicators. Implementing a project is all fine, no problem. But you have to measure the success of the implementation as well, right? During the implementation as well as after the implementation. So consultants, ControlCase, me, or in fact even including, if you are doing it yourself, you have to first create the KPIs of the entire project. The project structure, the team structure, everything will be a part of the strategy and roadmap development program, right? So with that, I just kind of wanted to talk about the strategy and roadmap, but if you want to know more about it, I'm here. You can come up to me and talk about it. Let us now talk about ISO family with a few examples, sir. So you would like to take this? Yeah, thank you.
All right, thanks, Jimmy. So, this is one very, very practical example of the pain points, capability and trust. We were only ISO 27001 certifying body, and when we went to customers, they said, look, we need many ISO certifications. Could be 9,000, could be something. And we are not having skills. We are not ready, and we don't have manpower to do that. So what you will see is that we only do something, but the skills available is expandable because they're identical for every standard. And that's here when I would say that my colleague Rashmi worked with clients, and we went to the extent that 10 ISO certifications in less than 1.5 years were achieved, which being a certifying body, we can't do consulting, so we have to give up certification and organize certification third party, which we do it all the time if there are any conflict of interest. And she worked on that along with the team and achieved that. So, Rashmi, for you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for the wonderful briefing on the ISO certification, professional services, and how we are helping client to achieve the certification and maintaining the compliance through the professional services. And thank you, Junaid, for explaining one of the complex and critical professional services for our clients we are doing as of now. So now I would like to do a quick exercise with you. And you all have to repeat after me because I know ISO and lunch definitely make you sleep. So can you all repeat after me? Good afternoon, Dubai. I can see a house full, so the response should be louder. So make it louder this time, okay? Good afternoon, Dubai.
Good afternoon.
This is better now. So exercise will end here, and it's a scam for you. Now I got your attention, so let me take you through the screen on with the next slide. So So now ISO certification and portfolio we have right now on the screen, and we are supporting, as of now, multiple ISO certification and readiness services. So let me take you through with a couple of them. One is the ISO Service Management System, ISO Quality Management System, ISO Business Continuity Management System, AI Management System, and ISO Privacy Management System. So these are the major services which we are offering as of now, including multiple ISO family with the certification and readiness support. So this is not the final list which we are offering as of now. We are keep on adding multiple standards and services based on the requirement. One of the classic example, in last year we have added ISO 42001 AI Management System, ISO 20000 ITSM, and ISO 37001 whistleblowing system. So these all are the three major certification and readiness support we have added last year, and we are looking forward to add many others in 2025. So now let me take you with a couple of the case studies which will help you to understand how professional services and we are supporting client with the journey of their compliances and maintaining the compliances. So this is one of the classic example of the strategic client of ControlCase, where we are supporting them on their compliance journey. Starting from 2012, we have supported them achieving the PCI DSS compliance, and then later on 2015, we have added 3 more certification for them. With the journey of the compliances, they have added 3 more different standards in 2020, and as we move ahead with 2021, we added 2 more ISO certification. As we move forward, as on today, they have become our partner, and we are supporting them with the 10 number of compliance within a year with very shorter period of time. Within 3 to 5 months, we are achieving all the 5 compliances for them. Now, here let me take you with another classic example. This is one of the non-IT client where we have become their IT partner and helped them on their year 1. We have supported them with 3 different ISO certifications. And later on, year 2, they have added 2 more additional requirement, and we made it happen on year 2 with 1 audit and 1 readiness program. Now on year 3, we are doing as of now 6 different certification and consulting for them. So as of now, we can see, I'm very positive that we'll add many more in 2025. Definitely the count is gonna be more than 6. Yeah. So far, we have talked about 2 different case studies, which is one of them is multiple compliances for one client. The second case study was the multiple ISO compliances for one organization, which is from the non-IT domain. Now here is one of the very classic example for our esteemed client from the Americas. They are having a business with multiple entity, multiple time zone, and multiple certification. So we maintained, we maintained their compliances with the help of only, the consultant. We have the expert consultant. We are offering them ISO 27001 SOC 2, and their in-house cybersecurity framework we had. Through the support of the expert consultant of ControlCase, we helped them to achieve this compliances for the business. And very shorter period of time, that's the very interesting key, how we are supporting them with very cost-effective and time-saving manner. Thank you, sir. So that's all, you can take it ahead.
Thank you. So at this moment, let me tell you about this entity. When we gave them they are in US, when we gave them the first year, a part of it, they gave us in the second year, which is 10 times bigger than that. And then the third year, which is 2 times bigger than the second year. And this is all because they built a trust. They saw our capabilities and capacities, and they realize we are there to meet their timelines and not our timelines. And with this, and of course, we will be cost effective. Now, at this point, what next? One is, we are there all the time. Please contact us anytime if you have anything to do with cybersecurity or privacy, etc. And the second thing, start thinking. Every one of you has customers. You are my customer. You have customers. How do we serve your customers through you? You be the front. And you have, like telecom operators, they have hundreds of customers. We could be using their platform to offer managed services to their customers, because we have that. And likewise, banks have their service provider, and so on. So my next goal is to work through you. I'm working with you already. Then I'll work through you and possibly achieve something much bigger and better, which will give joy to you and us. Because you will be the front, not me. I don't want any credit. I want to support you and, of course, make money, that's for sure. So with that, let me firstly thank my 2 colleagues who did an excellent job. in presenting. And thank you all for your patience. And now let me invite my colleague, Kaushik. He's Vice President, Business Development, and he is the moderator for this panel discussion. We are running behind schedule, but I think you will like it, and we will give you value for money. Okay, thank you. Yes, Kaushik.
All right, so we'll not take much of your time, at least I will not take much of your time, and we'll quickly move to the panel discussion. But before even we move to the panel discussion, let's set the context straight, right? Pro services, we have spent considerable time, especially after lunch. So I'm sure you would have got at least 80% of that. The rest 20%, the entire panel will help you understand, right? But even before that, let's take a step back and try to understand by a single phrase, what could you have done? And let's sit tight with this particular statement for some time. And let's try to understand this as well with a very, very short story. Imagine around 40 people flying to Dubai, okay, for a single company. They come in at the airport. The organization has booked a very fancy bus for them, okay. They all hop on that particular bus. And they put their luggage in as well. Now, organization was proactive enough. They got hold of the bus. They knew that, okay, 30, 40 people are coming. So let's book at least a 40, 50-seater bus. Fantastic. But the caveat over here was they didn't take into account the luggage. Because of which, at least 20 seats were occupied by the luggage. And many of those particular people then sat over each other and came. True love between them was spread. But having said that, why exactly this happened? And whatever short story I told is inspired by true events. Okay? Now, why exactly that particular thing happened? It's because there's no playbook approach for all these types of challenges in life. And in a very, very similar manner, there is no playbook approach when it comes to cybersecurity practices as well. So you have to rely on the industry experience, you have to rely on the industry experts, and you have to rely on their forecasting methodology as well to come around and say that, okay, yes, this is what should be implemented. And that's what the entire pro service is all around. So without further ado, let me call on, let's say, a fantastic panel which we have. Starting from, we have Mr. Carlo. Mr. Carlo, do we have? Yeah. A big round of applause, guys. So he's a pioneer in cybersecurity. The first company which he built was sold to Dimension Data. I just got to know in the very morning. And it was one of the first SOC facilities as well, which was launched at that time. So thanks a lot, Mr. Carlo. And can we have a little bit more round of applause, guys? And the next one is Mr. Troy Leach. He's the keynote speaker for today. All of you know him very well. PCI Security Standards Council. All of us know it very well. He was the guy behind the PCI Security Standards Council. From the concept to the startup to a global business model. This is the guy. Then we have Mr. Tsige. Mr. Tsige is the cybersecurity leader, the CISO at Telecom. He is responsible for protecting the entire national digital infrastructure when it comes to transactions. So big round of applause to him. And lastly but not the least, I would like to invite Mr. Ashok. Mr. Ashok from JustPay. I don't know how many of you are from India, but Mr. Ashok is the CISO at JustPay. And JustPay is responsible to manage more than 200+ million transactions per day. And this guy is responsible for the security of the same. So thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, guys. So I think we are a little bit short on time, but yeah, we'll utilize as much as possible. So thanks a lot, guys. I think all of you have one each. Yes? Yeah, fantastic. So let's start with one topic. We'll spend around 2 minutes on that, and then we'll explore more. I hope that's fine with everyone. Yeah. So emerging cybersecurity threats in 2025, right? We have just started the year. We have a lot of, you can say, gurus of cybersecurity have predicted a lot of threats, a lot of vulnerabilities coming around, right? So, as per your purview, as per your understanding of the entire threat landscape, what do you see that, okay, which all cybersecurity threats our customers, our industry should be aware of? Can we start with Troy first, if that's fine? And then we'll just go down the order.
All right, sounds good. I've had about 5 minutes to think about this. So I'll say two trends that I see people are not paying attention to that I would just think about is it's what's old is going to be new again, and those two things are around cryptography and physical security, and both AI related. Talking about that this morning, I think with the cryptography, the quantum computing, I think AI is going to accelerate how we actually leverage it. We have starting to see some commercialization of quantum computing. So I think that people are first of all, they're not aware of what cryptography they're using, so they don't have a bill of material for their cryptography. So I think we're just behind on knowing what we're using. And then the second part about physical security, I think AI, Suresh was just talking about robotics. I think physical security is evolving and changing to incorporate a lot more AI than we're suspecting, and that's going to think about something that we've probably checked off on our compliance box. Oh yeah, we have physical security, we have man traps, we have whatever it might be. So I think those are two areas that we're kind of sleeping on today.
Fantastic, fantastic. Let's go to Carlos, right?
My calls are the same, about the same issues. So there's another new acronym that's coming up called HNDL, which is Harvest Now, Decrypt Later. You'll see this more and more in the media where attackers eavesdrop and copy and save your data today that's completely encrypted. And then when, say, 2030 comes and quantum computing makes every encrypted technology obsolete, they will easily decrypt it and take you for ransom. So that's one of the major ones we're tracking right now. The other one is specific AI attacks that use agentic AI to very quickly change the attacker's infrastructure. So right now, every vendor, the way they identify a threat with some malicious URL, domain, IP, or a hash, that from an attacker's point of view, being humans, they set up their infrastructure. It takes them a couple of weeks to set up that infrastructure. It's too difficult for them to go back and keep changing that infrastructure once their IPs, domains, URLs, or hashes have been identified by the vendors. With agentic AI, every piece of that puzzle in terms of the infrastructure, whether it's the initial spam email or the command and control server or the encryption used or whatever, every element is constantly updated and changed. Now, if you know vendors, it takes them years to develop technology. Can you imagine how long will it take the vendors to keep up and catch up to this AI-based attack vector? So these are the two things that are upcoming that are quite scary, actually. And I think the quantum computing one would be similar to a Y2K doomsday, where everyone comes together to try and fix it all of a sudden.
Absolutely. I believe with the quantum computing, the encryption standards which we have currently might not be of any use as well if the intruders really start utilizing the quantum computing. But having said that, Mr. Tsige, and I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly. I'm really sorry for that. But yeah, please go ahead.
You are correct. You are correct.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for giving us this chance for ControlCase. I just want to take a chance to introduce Ethio Telecom at a high level. Ethio Telecom is an African-based operator in East Africa, and it is the largest integrated operator with 80 million subscribers. We are providing different digital solutions for Ethiopian market, mainly public cloud, mobile money, and also telcos. We have also 50 million mobile money subscribers, and we are not just mobile network operator. That's why I said integrated operator. Coming to your question, all the points which was mentioned before are absolutely the threat that is coming. What it remains is also, I have to mention that the insider threats are also one of the critical area, which is usually we overlook the threats coming from the inside. When I say inside, it can be intentional, also unintentional. But what matters is the business will be disconnected. So we need to take care of that part. Another point which I want to mention is also the supply chain risk. It is becoming inevitable. Sometimes, of course, we have to trust our vendors, but not, the principle is zero trust. That zero trust is also works for vendors too, and we have to manage, every organization should manage also that supply chain risk. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot, Mr. Sage. So it's not working? Okay, let's check the other one. Yeah. So, Mr. Ashok, what do you think?
Yeah. First of all, thank you very much for this opportunity to share my experiences. Right. So your question is 2025 attack vectors. I think many are there. Let me pick whatever comes first. Okay. I see. I think with the combination of Gen A, what gentleman has told, I see increase in the bot attacks, especially layer 7 attacks. Because layer 7 the kind of work is doing, it's not unique. It's per organization, per product. Even inside organization, there are many flavors are there. Okay, not even single person know what kind of various technologies are used, right? The coverage is huge. At the same time, outside of the product or company, the kind of threat evolving from the ethical guys, right? The bad intention guys, whoever is call it. They are enhancing and they are highly investing the time how to break the systems, right? But the similar amount of effort is not getting inside the company, especially from the fintech point of view. What I mean to say, there will be many more. I think we already hearing the ransomware attack that becoming a service. Right? Few people are offering as a platform, RAS, right? So that if you hear that definitely as a fintech, my heartbeat is going a little bit high. So those kind of attacks will definitely go high, and the legacy problem now as he said, like we need to revisit that again, right? Supply chain attacks and this the cloud into come into the picture. The adaptability of cloud is growing, increasing every day by day. There are multi flavors of cloud are there. Only, I think, at great extent, many people are relying, establishing the trust based on the complaints report which they are providing. We don't know the real picture, what is behind the screen, right? So with this combination of AI, with the dependency of the cloud, the risk is high, right? So I think most of the people called out the skill set, another killer. With this more complexity, less skill set, that itself become a threat. For me, these are the top three. So everybody, I think, we all need to come together, do a brainstorming, come up with a practical strategy that can be implementable. As I said, it should be cost effective. Then I think we can at least do an attempt to address those. Thank you.
Absolutely fantastic. So, yeah, I think we are short on time. But having said that, one particular factor apart from the AI, Gen AI, and all the other types of AI, right? Legacy applications or legacy systems, do you guys think that they are still a weakness when it comes for the organizations? When I say legacy applications, it means that a particular application stack was developed, let's say 15 years ago, and that's how that particular business started, right? Now those developers are no more with the company, okay? That application is running. Nobody wants to touch that application at all because they don't know what will happen, right? Nobody wants to patch it, nobody wants to touch it, nobody wants to do anything about it. What do you guys think? Does those types of applications, the infrastructure still exist around us in the case of like say cloud. Right now we are migrating towards cloud, right? So do those particular applications still exist? We can start from anyone, whosoever wants to go first.
Okay.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. By the way, one thing I didn't mention before about Ethio Telecom is 130 years old operator.
Wow.
And almost all the technology coming through is adopted and delivered to Ethiopian nation is through Ethio Telecom, whether you call it telco, starting from 2G, and now it's 5G. A lot of fixed network technologies, even the digital technologies. By saying this, coming to your question, being a 130 years old company, I'm sure that you can imagine that there are a lot of different old technologies are there, and I believe they are very risky. Sometimes even some of the experts who were managing those, they will not be able to continue with our company. So even the technologies, like you said, there's no patches. All those, even some of the technologies, even the vendors, the suppliers are not yet there also. So this is, I believe it is a very big risk. And what we did is we just put some strategy, to move exit strategy from these kind of technologies. And thanks to the emerging technologies and also for any technology, I believe there is some workarounds are there, and we just strategize all those pointers and from categorizing from different, from telco, fintech, all those, including all the OS and others. What we did is step by step, we just migrated, and since we are too old in terms of having a lot of old technology, almost we are finalizing now. Currently we have very, very few, but the cost to protect them is still there because, those technologies shouldn't be public face, so they need to be protected with additional layer of security. So we are trying to manage it that way, but every company should address that. I believe that they are vulnerable, and one day it's kind of time bomb.
Certainly. Troy, Carlos, what do you think? Any?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a problem for sure. Yeah. Very common with our clients where they're running AIX or Solaris or HPUX, and every single major AV vendor has stopped supporting the operating systems. So they're very common, especially in utilities. And the other sector common is in government. Some older government agencies where they haven't updated those applications, they're stuck, and you can't touch them, you can't go near them, you blow and they fall down. It's like a house of cards, so it's very common. So they have to, they have to get on with the times. Yeah, very vulnerable.
And Troy, with you, I will have a targeted question, right? Okay. You have founded PCI, you have done a lot of things. And with the PCI standards and everything, there was one more responsibility which was on you, which was on the forensics angle as well, right? And you have seen a lot of breaches happening during your tenure. So based upon the legacy application setup, right, what exactly you have seen in that particular arena? Or was that an entry point for the intruder, something like that, which you have seen, if you can share with us?
Yeah, and I'll think back to those early days. So when we created PCI, I was at American Express. And I will say that we felt very confident at the time that we were running mainframe, and we were running, and distributed computing. We don't have to worry about all these external points. But actually, internally, I was one of the last people within my group that actually understood RACF authorization. And so you have one of the problems, if you do have legacy systems, and we also were running COBOL and Fortran and legacy software. And so even though you have these systems, you start to lose that resources that Suresh was talking about of who knows how to actually code this. So I do see that. I actually see the bigger problem being the open source and the legacy open source, that people are not checking to see if their source code is actually being maintained. And so you're starting to see a lot of data breaches where Apache struts was a great example of people not even realizing the dependencies they had on some of the open source code, and these developers who are doing this kind of on a free will, just trying to volunteer their time to update and maintain. I think that's the bigger challenge. It's not necessarily as legacy, but it can become very quickly, and people are just not aware of what software they're relying on.
That's true. That's absolutely true. Others, one last take, and then we'll go to the other round, the last round as well, which we'll have. Yeah, please go ahead, Adarsh, on this particular. Oh, sorry, Ashok. I'm really sorry, because he has a colleague, Adarsh, with whom I work a lot. So that's why whenever I see Adarsh and Ashok both at the same time. Please go ahead, Ashok.
I think I completely agree with the three gentlemen. To add up that one, at least in fintech, that's not going to work. Very simple. Okay, you cannot live forever on the legacy application because the moment either the dependencies or the real security or the operating system going end of life, so you cannot pass the complaints. Without complaints, you cannot run the show. Okay, so the fintech I think you have to take a hard call. You have to take, as he said, very clear strategy in line with the management. Okay, my legacy application is there. Now, these are the risks. As a CISO, what I can do here, we can play a role here is, we can list down all the risks associated with the legacy. For me, it's like a kind of a Titanic kind of a thing. It's going to die, but when its time need to be decided, right? So we need to highlight to the management with all the risks. At the same time, we should have a strong migration plan because you cannot shut down. You already committed to your client, right? It's already giving the revenue kind of. At the same time, you cannot even live with this for longer way, right? So you need to have a balanced strategy and the strong implementation. You have to go in that direction. Otherwise, yeah, we already discussed.
Fantastic. Just last one. So with these emerging threats, which let's say we haven't seen till now, and the legacy challenges, which we thought have already gone by, right? The current standards, the current regulations do not address these ones. They don't address the older ones, which have already gone. Because if you'll see a standard which has been released like a 4.0.1, something like that, they will be talking about the current ones, right? So what exactly you guys think should be the security measures which should be followed by all the majority of the organizations when it comes to the emerging and the legacy one? We can start from Mr. Ashok.
Yeah, I think this is a fantastic question actually. Even I had a multiple discussions with my peer team and in fact with some extent with the management. The one question is, if I am compliant, are you giving the guarantee I don't get breached, right? So nobody. Then the question starts from there. Now the question then what is the security and the complaints? Why are we doing that? The questions around then how much we invest, all those stuff, right? So definitely I think many people called out, compliance is a bare minimum thing required to run the business. There is no doubt about that. But that won't give me the complete comfort saying that I'm secured, I'm protected, I can retain my trust with the customer. That won't give complete guarantee. Both are slightly different. One of the success criteria of your security can be a complaint, not the vice versa, right? So yeah, in this direction, we have to think, and there are gaps, right? The reason why we are calling out this is if you see the PCI pattern of this one, it started from 1.0, now 4.0.1 came. There are still few controls where compliance say tick mark, but we required much more in terms of maturity level, right? So 12 requirements are there, then 12 requirements, 200 odd controls are there. Is it okay? Not necessary. It might be okay to write your standards or the playbook kind of a thing, but it won't address the core issue of the organization, right? So that standard, I think many people called, you cannot fit that exact controls everywhere. Fintech, health, your manufacturing kind of a thing. My personal opinion, we should have a process, agreed process. Even since I'm fintech, I want to emphasize the importance of regulatory bodies as well, who should all in the one ecosystem environment, who should constantly having the approval process and the maturing the complaints. Okay, so for me, if I say like how I am doing ASVVA quarterly, firewall rules review half yearly, testing annually, like that there will be a periodic consistent review. The data point will be the threat data, whatever the data, the breach data, the actual breach data. That is just one part of input. This kind of a learning feedback system should be evolved. That feedback system should mature the existing compliance framework, not at the phase right now it is happening. It can be much more little phase it should happen, so that it should give us a confidence to prevent something. Now if you see the timelines is happening between 3 to 1 to 4, maybe 2, 3 years, 4 years, more than 4 years. 4 years may the attack vectors, maybe we could have missed 100 attack vectors, right? Now does the 4.0 will cover that 100 of 3 to 1 difference? Not sure. So we need to have a continuous monitoring system, feedback system, which will mature the compliance. At least it will give a comfort like, okay, if I do this, I'm breach free. Some extent, nobody can give 100% guarantee. This is my thought.
Absolutely. Mr. Sage, do you want to add anything what exactly he mentioned?
Yeah, I fully agree on his point. Just to add one point is for example, there is new technology is there. Everything on the new version of the compliance, everything is okay, but there is also old, which we need to address because the service is already there. So we cannot shut down because of the only to address the compliance. So we need to find some balance and the way out. What I use from my experience is while I manage those compliance certificates together with ControlCase is just using the expertise, the consultancy services coming from ControlCase. We just try to manage and map how we can address those pointers. For example, some new process may require, so we need to create that new process to address all those gaps. And also to do, sometimes maybe we may need once in a quarter assessment for the new one, we may need twice for the old one. So this kind of some methodology we can apply, but the most important one is it is better, I believe that working with consultancy services will bring some, knowledges to address this kind of gaps. So that's, I can suggest and add.
Absolutely, and that's where the pro service as well come in. Carlos, anything to add to the gentleman's point, both the gentleman's point?
I'll just talk to the issues that I discussed earlier about quantum computing problem that's caused. So most companies that are looking into it, one of the first things they're doing is they're tracking the movement of encrypted data, monitoring for the movement of the data. And the second thing is using post-quantum cryptography to change the existing encryption. And the third one is using quantum key distribution for the communication layer. So these are the way they're addressing it now. With regards to just general advanced threats, so my company, we specialize in detecting threats that bypass existing security controls. We do that without using traditional methods. So I think there's an opportunity for everyone to wake up and do the same, take a similar approach, realizing that you bring in a company like Elementrix, we detect 40 to 60 threats or incidents within your environment, and we do that without collecting any logs from your environment. By simply focusing on what is getting through, bypassing your existing controls. Because if those controls already detected a threat, they would have blocked it, because that's how they're designed. If they don't know about a threat, they let it through. They roll out the red carpet for the threat. So the logs they produce are basically saying blocked or allowed. So from a defender's point of view, as an industry for the last 20 years, and every compliance mandate says, collect logs, monitor for threats. It doesn't work. Every company that's been breached was compliant. Every company that's been breached had every security control under the sun. So security controls, logging, compliance does not work. It's been proven. Every single major breach had everything right, but they still got breached. So we need to come up and think out of the box to detect threats. And if you look at MITRE ATT&CK, there's about 2,300 techniques. If you cover them all, AI comes up with a novel one, a new one that we don't know about. If you cover the 2,300 and you do it using behavioral techniques, then you've got the best chance of success of detecting these threats. That's all. Thank you.
Fantastic. Troy, I need last comments.
Quick thought, then so we can get Suresh on stage.
Yeah.
I just add a counter to that, because in my career at PCI, and then also I did forensics at American Express for about 5 years. So I've seen about 1,000 data breaches, the actual causes. I would challenge that in every single case, they weren't compliant. That they actually thought they were compliant. And I guess here are my 2 points, is that we don't do inventory very well. We don't have a bill of material, and all these data breaches testified in the US Congress about 6 times when the Target breach happened. The reality is that the security professionals don't know what all the shadow access, and it's costing companies hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. They have rogue employees who are having computer services, cloud services. They're having AI services that security teams don't know about, so they can't secure. So that would be my one thing to leave with, is that we have to do better at the bill of materials and knowing what is happening, because as I mentioned, 55%, according to Microsoft, 55% of employees are using shadow rogue services that their manager does not know about.
Yeah, that's true. So on that particular note, I believe I'll just invite Mr. Suresh Dadlani for the Phil's Day, and thanks a lot to the entire panel for being such wonderful. Thank you so much.
Not because it was my session, but I would say this was the best session I heard. Doesn't mean others were not. Okay, so I'll invite Mike to please present mementos. I think we have two short sessions after that before we break. So the first one is Mr. Anil Johari. Let me invite him and talk about Mr. Anil Johari will cover regulations and voluntary standards towards coexistence. So regulations and voluntary standards, how they coexist, he is going to talk about that. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everybody. Can you hear me? Yeah. So let me start by thanking Mr. Dadlani for inviting me to this gathering. I met him, about 7 years ago, 2018, when he was seeking accreditation of NABCB, where I was CEO. And since then, we have stayed in touch. In fact, I should thank him more because I retired in 2019, so 5 years after I have retired, he still remembers me. I must have done something good to deserve that kind of consideration. I'm truly impressed. This is the second time I'm attending annual conference of ControlCase. I was in Bali as well. And I'm truly impressed in the manner in which ControlCase engages with its customers and gets them to talk, and it's great learning for me also. Learning for me because I'm not from this domain. Let me confess right in the beginning. I'm not from this domain. So when Mr. Dadlani invites me to speak, it's a first challenge for me to think about a topic which might keep you engaged. Because my relationship with IT is limited to using a smartphone and using my laptop. At best, I can say my son is an IT professional, so that's another linkage I have. So I have to think about what to speak of. But listening to the sessions today in the morning and listening how regulation and standards were being interchangeably used and how compliance and certification were being interchangeably used, I thought, okay, fine. I might, at the end of the session, make some contribution to bringing more clarity to a subject which I have chosen. Sorry. Yeah. I need some help in first. Yeah, okay. So which one is the one I use? Okay. So standardization has been around since time immemorial. I think the human form itself, if you look at it, is a standardization in terms of how men and women are formed. Language is another standardization. Whatever I say in English, you understand. Each language is standardization. But regulations and certifications are a modern day need. These are modern day tools. Regulations are typically needed when health and safety issues are involved. These are, by very definition, because as I said, I saw these words used interchangeably. Regulations are those which are legally mandated, first thing. So, and voluntary certifications are something which are giving a third-party assurance, generally market-driven, sometimes mandated by regulators. Sometimes regulators do require, for example, I'm sure many of you, although not from the domain, would have heard of organic certification. It is actually mandated by law in Europe, in India as well. But it's not a preferred route for regulation. Regulators don't normally mandate certification. They mandate compliance, but not certification. Certification is only one of the routes to compliance. Audit can be just one route. A single one-time audit can be a route to compliance. Certification, you know, certification means 3-year period, surveillance, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So globally, there has been a practice to specify regulations for products as well as services, especially which have health and safety implications, but more. And then we had this establishment of WTO in 1995, when, you know, the whole aim being, although it's not being fulfilled right now, being free trade across borders, whether it's goods or services. And more non-tariff, what's called non-tariff barriers. You know, tariff was out, low duty everywhere. Non-tariff barriers became more important. And within those non-tariff barriers, what we call standards and quality-related issues became more important. Within that, I can tell you that more than standards, conformity assessment became more an issue. Conformity assessment was demonstration of compliance. So standards were still international standards, common standards, but conformity assessment had various models. So there's one study which says 30% issues in trade are because of standards, 70% are because of conformity assessment. That's a WTO study itself. So it's necessary that there are some rules laid down, and there indeed are some rules laid down for goods as well as services. The mother agreement for goods is called TBT, Technical Barriers to Trade Agreement. So worldwide, naturally, as would be expected, regulations can only be done by government, not by the private sector, because regulation need a law in place. Law can only be enacted by the government, whatever be the form of government, whether it's democracy or not a democracy. There is some form of legislative instrument. In developing countries like India included, voluntary initiatives have been initiated by the government, which sometimes presents a challenge But in the developed world, it's very clear. Government regulates, market drives the voluntary standards. It's very clear separation, but it's not so in developing countries, so sometimes it can be a challenge. On services also, there is a agreement. Going backwards, no. How does one go back? Yeah. So the reasons given, grounds given for regulation are 5 in TBT agreement. They have been given: health, safety, environment, deceptive trade practices, and national security. So these are the grounds you have to justify. Actually, if you make a regulation other than these grounds, you could be challenged in WTO. Same thing is there there's an agreement on services, general agreement on trade in services. And all those 5 grounds are mentioned here as well, but there are 2 additional grounds now you can relate to your own domain. One is privacy of data. So that's recognized that it will be regulated in every country. India has just enacted its Privacy Act, and now just draft rules have just come out. So we are still not fully regulated as far as privacy of data is concerned. And public order and morals. So it's very wide coverage. A lot of services could be regulated on this ground, off ground of public order and morals. Services also recognizes regulation, recognizes standards, recognizes licensing, recognizes certification. Licensing would typically mean when you are regulated and you need a license to operate. Certification would mean a third-party voluntary certification. It also talks of recognition among countries. Both TBT agreement as well as this one, they talk about mutual recognition in each country. I certify something in here, and you accept in another country the same certification, which you can see has happens to 27001 and ISO 9001. It also talks about common international standards developed by governmental or non-governmental bodies. Now, there is no governmental body listed here. So typically, we would think ISO and IEC, both are non-governmental, and they would be deemed as international standard setting bodies for the purpose of some of these. But there could be others. In food, there is a different body altogether. But for TBT and for services, where no body has been named, in the other agreement relating to food, the bodies are named because they are intergovernmental bodies. But here, because there are no intergovernmental bodies, therefore it's been kept open. But now generally we accept that ISO standards and IEC standards represent international standards. And then there is regulation of services. You have seen yourself, banking is regulated, insurance is regulated, telecom is regulated, fire safety is regulated, lifts are regulated, so many services are regulated. And what is seen over the years is that more and more services, more and more products are getting into this regulation, ambit of regulation, because more and more risks are arising, more and more health risks are arising. So you see that more and more regulation is coming in. Information security regulation is already there. Now we are talking about privacy of data, we are talking about AI and its potential misuse. So you can imagine that AI will be regulated one day. But the only thing is that regulations always take time to come in. Voluntary standards are much more agile. They quickly come in, and certification can quickly start even before regulations come in. Regulation is always a tortuous process, a longish process. Typically, as far as regulations are concerned, EU has been a front runner. Across sectors, you see, whether it's GHG, climate change now, whether it's GDPR, which came in long ago, whether it's food regulation, you will find that normally EU is the front runner. Sometimes I think there are some people in EU sitting just thinking about what new regulation to bring in, and they are the first ones to bring in regulation. So I guess we should all keep an eye on what EU is doing as far as regulations are concerned. Then the question is, to a natural question would be, when I was young and naive, I thought if I'm complying with the regulation, what else should I need? Nothing. I comply with the law of the land, that's all that is needed, or that should be needed. But it's not so, actually. As I grew older, and hopefully slightly wiser, I don't think anybody can be wise, really, you realize that, no, it's not so. Regulation is not good enough. And there is going to be something more than regulation that you are expected to do. And some two very typical sectors, of course, your sector is one of them, but two typical sectors are food and textiles, where a whole lot of voluntary standards and private standards operate. I mean, who could imagine that if I have to export food from India to EU with all the stringent regulations that it has in place, I still have to do some certification to get into the market because my buyer says, okay, fine, you comply with the regulations. Do you have FSCC certification? Do you have BRC certification? Only then I'll buy from you. And in any case, the buyer who pays the money, not the government, which makes the regulation. So I have to comply. So what's driving standards? There are a variety of reasons why voluntary standards are coming in. I mean, to me, if you ask me in this hierarchy, I would put the third bullet from below as the top one, that if excellence is to be achieved in any field, it will come through voluntary efforts. It will not come through regulations. You will constantly raise the bar through changing your standards, achieving higher and higher standards, and businesses will go for excellence through voluntary. But the hierarchy somehow is different. First thing is the risks that you face in the market. Your liability risks, your reputational risks, you don't want to take risks. You want to protect yourself, and therefore you go for additional measures beyond regulations. Even global sourcing is one reason for voluntary standards. I mean, a product is made somewhere, they're getting components from 5 different countries. They have to be sure that everything comes together. Social concerns, I'm sure you've heard of social audits, child labor, fairness of wages, worker safety, etc. New child on the block, as they say, new kid on the block is sustainability. A whole lot of businesses are being asked to go for sustainability certification. You can go to a website called Standards Map, and you'll see more than 300 plus sustainability certifications listed there, all private certifications which are listed there. As I said, to me, excellence should be the one big reason for voluntary standards to exist beyond regulations. Increasing market competition. If there's a law in place and all of us complying with the law, all of us are equal because all are complying with the law. How do I tell you that I'm better than my competitor? I do something additional, and that additional will come through voluntary standard. And even enhancing consumer confidence. Through voluntary standards, we create that trust. I think Mr. Dalani spoke a lot about the trust that you create, the trust among your clients that you create. So these are some of the factors which are across sectors driving voluntary standards, even if the sector is regulated, heavily regulated like food, as I said. Now, who is making these voluntary standards? Typically, one would expect there are standards body all over the world, a national standards body in every country, which are members of ISO and IEC. So that whole system of ISO, IEC, and national standards body put together is making voluntary standards. But there are a whole lot of standards outside ISO, IEC framework. There are industry-based standards. For example, in automotive, it's called IATF. It's in aerospace, it's called AS9100. And you have seen in your own area, there's a number of, today I heard, I think Satya's presentation especially, all the listing of all the standards that are operating in the market. So anybody, please remember that regulation in a country will be a single regulation and single regulator. Voluntary certification will be multiple. You will be in competition, one scheme owner, another scheme owner, another scheme owner, addressing the same issue, information security. I think Mr. Dadlani mentioned 80% standards are same, 20% variation here and there. So after all, you are addressing what? Information security. How much different can each standard be if you are addressing information security? So one issue that's, I think I heard in Bali when I was there, but today I heard it more and more. Much more today, in the half a day than I heard in 2 days in Bali, was multiplicity of certifications and single audit was being talked about. And this is something which is not typical of your sector, I can assure you. Food has number of multiple standards and certifications. Textiles has multiple standards and certifications. And some of them have come up with a solution, which I think will one day, I did mention in Bali. And sitting here listening to all of you, I did message somebody back in NASSCOM in India. Can we think of a system of benchmarking the private standards so that there can be some interoperability between the standards, which is what food has done actually. So there were a number of standards, multiple standards in food, and the food industry said, what the hell, how many audits I am going to undergo in a year? 240 days of 360, I'm facing audits. When do I produce? So I'm sure the businesses will, at one point of time, a tipping point will come when the business will say, what the hell, how many certifications I'm going to have? And somebody has to come up with the idea that, okay, they have to coexist, and there has to be some kind of benchmarking, some kind of interoperability where you say, if I'm certified to one, I'm deemed certified to other standards as well. So something of that should happen. It has happened in food, it has happened in forestry, it should happen in your domain as well. Ultimately, if there are regulations, how would regulators react to this? I remember in India going to one regulator once, a drug regulator, and telling him that in ISO 9000 certification, we are looking at GMP compliance and we find so many not compliant. And he said, I don't care what you do in ISO 9001. I have a regulation in place and I have a system of compliance checking and I do that, that's it. Beyond that, I don't look. But times have changed. Times have really changed. And the fact is that every standard, voluntary standard, implicitly or explicitly, whether it says it or not, it has to ensure, not very actively, but still reasonably, that you comply with the law. Because as a voluntary certification holder, I would be damned if I certify you and tomorrow you get arrested for non-compliance to the law and I get a bad name with that how did I certify somebody who was legally non-compliant? So that is one risk that I think every certifier would think of, every scheme owner, whether it's CMMI or PCI, DSS or whoever, would think of. But can regulators take cognizance of these certifications? That's the interesting part. The first question is, do these certifications mean that you are complying with the law? Well, I don't think the certifications per se check 100% compliance to the law. No, it's not even expected because you are not regulators. You are auditors, or you are facing auditors. They have a job in hand that is not to check 100% compliance to the law. But still, the international guidance says that they should check compliance to the law to a certain extent, to a reasonable extent, to be sure that you have systems in place that you comply with the law. Because it's always, as I said, it would be a risk to certify a client who is not complying with the law. So this is one part which regulators could take cognizance of, thinking that certification does mean a reasonable assurance, not a 100% assurance, but a reasonable assurance that you are compliant with the law. And this is what regulators are going to pick up sooner than later. It's happening in food, where the international body itself is bringing out a guidance on how regulators should take cognizance of third-party private certifications or quality assurance systems. Same thing is going to happen here. Europe has an even better approach. Europe has an approach where it, against every regulation, it notifies a standard, a voluntary standard. What do they call harmonized standard? And it says compliance to that standard will be deemed to be compliance to the law. That's an even better approach. One could think about that. Or certification will represent, many countries are asking today due diligence. Did you do due diligence? Voluntary certifications will represent a route of due diligence for you to prove that you did anything you did in good faith and you had done your due diligence because you have this XYZ certification. So it is a protection to you. Regulators, what is regulators' perspective? Regulators are interested in effective regulation. They are mandated to regulate. And today, regulators globally are moving away from the traditional model that regulator does it all. Because there was a time when regulator will lay down requirements, regulator will check compliance, regulator will prosecute you, do everything. But today it is not so. Today more and more regulators are relying on international standards. They are coming up with third-party bodies. So you would be seeing more and more regulators relying on third-party and taking cognizance. This is how the regulations and voluntary certifications will coexist together. So ultimately, I think what I would like to say in conclusion is that regulations and standards, actually in WTO terminology, standards means voluntary standards. And what is prescribed mandatorily, what was called mandatory standards. There used to be a word called mandatory standards before 1995. When TBT agreement came into place, it defined that as technical regulation. So there is no longer, standard normally means voluntary standard today. So it's regulation and standards. And they are coexisting, they will coexist. They used to be adversarial earlier. You know, the regulator will say, I don't care what standards are there. Standards, voluntary certification would not care for the regulations. But today, we are coming to a stage where regulations and voluntary standards will coexist. Regulators will take cognizance of voluntary standards. Voluntary standards would have to make themselves more robust as far as regulatory compliance is concerned. And if you are looking at international equivalence, there will be more and more accreditation. I have not spoken about accreditation. More and more accredited certification to make sure that it's internationally equivalent. Thank you very much.
So, Mr. Johri was CEO of NABCB, which is the accreditation body, and he's on the committees of number of global standards for ISO, etc., etc. So he was very modest when he talked about. No, so let me. I think we'll have a short break for tea, right, Satya, or continue? Okay, we'll continue the last session and then have a break after that. So Satya, please come in. It's going to be a very interesting session on technology, which covers AI and other similar initiatives, you know. Yeah. Let me have Rupesh along with Satya. Rupesh is our CTO and Satya is our group CEO. Yeah.
All right, we all know that we are running out of time and we are not going to keep this longer. We have been given 20 minutes, but let me directly jump into the meat of this particular presentation, which is nothing but the entire technology stack, what we have from ControlCase. And that's nothing different, but we just want to focus on certain things. We saw in the morning when certain questions were asked, very specifically targeting to certain modules of the compliance hub, some hands were up and some were down. That means that not every one of you know the important functionalities within the compliance hub technology. Before that, actually, I just want to lay out a little agenda or a theme for this presentation. Basically, compliance is a journey and there are multiple steps in that journey. And at each step, if you have a right technology, you can have your compliance achieved in a lesser time, lesser cost. And that's what we are actually demonstrate you. And when we talk about it, we talk about always not one single standard compliance or framework. Here we are talking about more than 60 plus standards, regulations and IT certifications. As you see on the screen, it's not just PCI, DSS, ISO, CSA star, HITRUST, HIPAA, all these different IT compliance standards have got multiple different controls and requirements which are having a repeated kind of controls or evidence which have been asked. And how to seamlessly avoid all these repetitions and save our time and cost is something which can be done through our technology. And that's what we are talking about. But before that, let's understand what are the different phases of any assessment, be it ISO, be it HITRUST, be it CMMC, be it FedRAMP. There is always these 4 phases what you will see. It starts from assessment, phase 1, where you would like to know where do you stand really when it comes to a particular standard, and would like to know how much you are compliant versus non-compliant. That's one. Number 2 is actually, then you know what are the gaps and you want to remediate those gaps. So you must know how much gaps you have, the prioritized way of identifying those, the risk associated with, impact associated with, etc. So that's where the remediation and remediation support is required. And number 3, which is nothing but once you remediated everything and you are fully compliant, you want to go to the auditor and tell that you look at my system and my controls and you certify me. Once that is done, you achieve your certification. But that's as on date. Now you have to really maintain, and that's where the continuous compliance phase comes, which is number 4. And that's where we are actually talking about Compliance Hub as a technology. And here, I'm just leaving it here because this is a dashboard what you keep seeing when you log into the Compliance Hub. And this is the journey for any user who's doing certification services or cybersecurity services with ControlCase starts.
Hello everyone. So move to the next slide. So this is our IT compliance dashboard, our flagship product released back in 2005 and 2006. So it contributes to our mission to make the IT certification easier. The journey starts, the customer journey starts from My Task. The My Task is the most critical thing. So you click on the upload evidence and you see what all tasks that are assigned to you as a customer and ControlCase as an internal user. So when you click on the question, it shows those subtabs, comments. So if you have the artifacts that can be uploaded as a form of an evidence, or it can be a comment. Then there is something called as control reference. So the dashboard that is set up for, it will show what the questions map to. So our experience over the 20 years time, we have made sure that our questionnaire is a simple English language that we keep on adding more and more certifications, more and more mapping. Then the second thing is the sample templates. This is basically useful for our first-time certification customers. So as you all know that the evidence for an audit, it's not an easy thing. So we help the customer with the help of the sample templates so that they can download it, tune it, and accordingly upload it as an artifact for the audit. The next critical thing is the archived evidence. As you may be seeing in the video, the archived evidence, it is more important for the recertification customer. So they get the visibility, what was uploaded in the previous year, download it, and accordingly tune it as per the current year, re-upload it as an artifact so that our auditor, it is easier for our auditor to pass the evidence. The next thing is the AI. Mike spoke about the doubling the investment on the AI. The session number 1 from Troy, amazing session. He spoke about RAG, Retrieval Augmentation Generation, very critical process to optimize the output so that it eliminates the hallucination. In our first release that went into GA last year, we automated the policy and procedure. And with this demo, so the policy and procedure, as you can see over here, the policy and procedure is uploaded, and for the customer, rather than waiting for the assessor to respond, because the assessor SLA is 1 to 5 days, so rather than waiting for the assessor to respond, the customer can get to know whether the evidence that they have uploaded meets the control requirement or not. So in the example, you will see the minimum password length as an example. The minimum password length for the PCI is 12 characters. Within the policy that is uploaded over here, it is 6 characters. Now, the customer, they can see that there is something wrong with the evidence that is uploaded. They can tweak it and re-upload it. So over here within the AI, there is a thumbs up and thumbs down, where you can continue to provide the feedback, and we as a backend team look at this feedback and make sure we improve our technology. Once the evidence is not meeting the standard requirement, click on the re-upload and upload the evidence back again, and you will see the AI responses until it is passed.
All right, so we heard about automated compliance engines since morning, and this is one of the innovative technology which is already embedded within the Compliance Hub and available to you, and you do not have to really do anything extra. It is out of the box available in the Compliance Hub. what it is exactly. So we talked about 4 phases. The first phase, assessment, and that's where this is very crucial. If you ask anyone, where do you spend your most amount of time in the assessment process? The first answer which you will get is collecting the evidence to prove your auditor that here is my evidence against this control and you please assess it. Now this time consuming task, if you have to really save your time, we have built a technology which is called as ACE, and that's where it can really extract the evidence from the infrastructure such as clouds or the on-premise or a physical infrastructure, and not only extract the evidence, but it can also determine the compliance status of that extracted evidence and tell you immediately, so that you do not have to wait for the assessor to determine the status and tell you. So let's look a quick demo of it. When you log into the Compliance Hub and you click on Compliance Scanner, this is where a screen which can tell you, first of all, for how many platforms this technology is available. As you see on a screen, there are multiple different types of operating systems, firewalls, containerized environments, firewalls, and these technologies are the technologies which are widely known, widely used, and mainly by our own customers. So if you want to pull the evidence which are required for any of these standards such as PCI DSS and ISO SOC, etc., you can do it on a click of a button. I talked about the technology availability for the cloud as well. And when we talk about cloud, it is available for AWS, Azure and GCP, the well-known cloud technologies which are out there. The seamless extraction happens in a way where this Compliance Hub instance is directly connected to your cloud, and where you take generally weeks or days to extract the information and also know what is the compliance status. This can do the job within few minutes. That's the impact what we are talking about here. So for AWS, very specifically, if I have to talk about, this is a scan board where you start your scanning to extract the evidence. Again, all this is very closely tied to the questionnaire what we have been showing since the first screen. It is available for AWS in 2 different manners. AWS has got a technology called as SSM, where you can call the web services of SSM and directly extract that information from AWS cloud, or you can run a direct a scanning against the instances and get it. Once you do that, basically all the information which is extracted by the scanner is collected and organized in a way that Compliance Hub needs and the auditor would like to see. What that means is, we always talk in terms of questions, and what you see on a screen is different questions. So all these technology evidence which are gathered are put against the right questions and the exact extracted information from all these assets. The impact what we are talking about here is, when it comes to AWS and when it comes to, let's say, for example, PCI DSS. In our world, in Compliance Hub, there are 100 questions when it comes to PCI DSS. This technology can actually extract the evidence for 40 questions out of 100, which means a 40% coverage right on a click of a button, and that too within few minutes. That's the impact what we are talking about. Once all this is collected, obviously not everything is going to be compliant in first go. So what you see is basically a compliance dashboard within ACE, which talks about the collected information versus what is compliant versus not. Again, this is not yet gone to the assessor, and the technology is actually evaluating and telling you what is compliant, what is non-compliant, and there are certain evidence where you may not have to, the technology cannot decide, and therefore we flag it as assessor review required. Okay? And then, you can do a lot of slice and dice, and you can extract the information, disseminate within your organization to get it fixed, etc. So that's all about the ACE. Now let's talk about data discovery.
Yep. So data discovery, again, another module within the Compliance Hub, released back in 2010, and then we added a cloud version in 2018-19. So this is a scan board for the data discovery model. So the data discovery process product, what it can do is look out for the card data, credit card data, debit card data. And it also looks out for sensitive data like social security number, zip code, etc. Now let's say if you don't see a sensitive data search which is pertaining to your country, your region specific, no problem. There is an option to add a custom regulation, and accordingly it can do a data discovery for that particular custom region. So we do support the multiple asset category like domain scanning, and again I don't want to name each and every, you can see on the screen. So databases and Office 365, SharePoint, and OneDrive. Within the databases, we support the most popular one, Oracle, Sybase, Informix, mostly for the banks. This, within the data discovery model, we do have a remediation module. Now, within the remediation module, so once the data discovery runs, it discovers all the location within the databases, all the tables, and if you when you remediate it during the evaluation process, you will notice that some of the data is false positive. So you can simply click on it, mark as false positive so that it won't be appearing again in your future scan. Similarly, if you clean the result, which is the real data, you clean it up, mark it as remediated, and which is directly translated to the reporting module where it can show at asset level whether it is compliant or non-compliant, and that can be produced to the assessor as a evidence that your systems are clean.
So we talked about assessment as a first phase, and that's where we now know all the gaps within the infrastructure and against a standard what we are trying to comply with. Now the next step starts, which is phase number 2, where we have to remediate those non-compliances. And while doing that, there are a lot of scans and tests which are done as part of it. Either you do it or we do it. If we are doing it, we can actually show it to you through something called as Vulnerability Manager. Okay? And that's something which we are going to show you very quickly. So Vulnerability Manager is a module within the Compliance Hub where you can gather all the vulnerabilities which are generated because of various scans and tests which are performed, including your ASV scan on a quarterly basis, or maybe vulnerability assessments, penetration test, application pen test, and so on. So you have a single dashboard where you can really come to know what are the total vulnerabilities which you have got and by the risk of that vulnerability. Not just that, but you can also know and prioritize based on what is the most affected vulnerability across my entire infrastructure, as well as what are the top 10 assets which are actually vulnerable within my infrastructure. So this is something which can help you to really prioritize your actions and do the remediation faster so that you can reach up to the next step. You can get all the details about each and every vulnerability, and that's something which we are showing on a screen in a detail. So it just not leaves you at a dashboard, but when you, all these dashboard items are clickable, as in there are actions, you can get more details, more insights, so that you have clear actions, and the people who are working on it know exactly how to fix that vulnerability. You can also collect this using multiple different tools. If you have, there are well-known technologies including Tenable Nessus or Qualys or Rapid7. All these are very well integrated within the technology. So it's not our own technology. We are using industry standard tools, but we have a great integration within the technology so that you can actually gather all this and do a prioritization and the management of your vulnerabilities. All right, so we talked about remediation. Now, assume that, we have remediated everything, all the gaps have been fixed, all the vulnerabilities have been fixed, and now we are heading towards that pie chart which was red at the beginning, now in a green form. Now we know that we are ready for the audit, and that's where the auditor starts looking at it. So that's where we have, let's say, most of the organization, including the enterprises, they have to certify or comply to more than one regulation. And that's where we bring the one audit, where
we have mapped more than 60 plus IT security standards and frameworks and regulations, where the common areas have been put into a simple English-like questions and they are presented to you. Why we are actually following this methodology is basically controls and requirements or clauses from the regulations are so difficult to understand, and we want to make it simple. That's what our vision is, to make compliance easier for our customers, and we convert those the difficult clauses or requirements or controls in a simple English-like question. Not only that, because of overlap what we have, we can actually do the one audit, which is our flagship offering, where we can assess once and comply to many. Let's look at a quick screens of compliance when we talk about the one audit. Here you see that you have clicked on a questionnaire, you are seeing the questionnaire. You click on a question and you can really start interacting. Someone was asking me in the break that, is there any self-service facility? Well, there are multiple steps within the compliance. Within the compliance hub, first few steps can be self-service because, it's straight away a technology. You can click on a question, you can read it, you can respond, and then based on your feedback, if AI is actually looking at it, if ACE is being used, you can quickly get the feedback. Of course, you have to wait till the audit phase, but before that, you can run in a self-service manner. That's where the auditor looks at it and then they start responding to it, and that's what we are seeing on a screen. In this example, you see that there are 4 standards against which the assessment is going on, which is PCI DSS, SOC 2, HIPAA, and NIST CSF. Now, this customer knows that I have to be certified for these, and this is my current status. But at the same time, let's say today the customer wants to know how much I am compliant with, let's say, business continuity management standard, which is ISO 22301, or maybe in a privacy standard like GDPR, etc. What they can do is basically they can click on more regulations and they can come to know. Now, let's look at it on a live demo where they are actually clicking on the pie chart which is there, and they are getting to know the actual compliance status against those 4 standards. But they want to know more about it, they click on add-on regulations, and that's where all the 60 plus integrations what we are talking about, they can get to know the current status of their compliance against those which they are not really undergone. But the benefit of that is they know how much they are already compliant against that, and they can immediately add that and basically cut down the time and effort and a cost which is additionally required to get to that stage. Okay, so we talked about the audit. Again, I want to be a little faster as my time is already up. Continuous compliance. Now, as I mentioned earlier, that audit is a once in a year kind of activity, but to get to that particular date and ensure that you achieve that milestone, you have to do certain activities periodically. And that's where the continuous compliance comes. Basically, there is a card on your dashboard which calls out as Cybersecurity services, and that tells you there are multiple different activities which are in periodic nature, like quarterly, yearly, half yearly, etc. And through this dashboard, through this tool, you can actually get it conducted by our teams, as well as you can actually see the results of it. And the beauty is basically you will always see a question number against it, which means what? Any result which is produced out of these activities are directly going and sitting against that, and automatically that pie chart is slowly becoming green. So that's where we talk about all these cybersecurity services which are part of the continuous compliance.
Okay. So the next one is a consolidated dashboard. Now, the reason why the consolidated dashboard is in place is we notice that our customers, when they have multiple processes, multiple certification within the processes, they have to literally navigate to each and each dashboard to see where they stand. So with this consolidated dashboard view, on one single page, the customer can get to know where they stand per certification in terms of milestones, in terms of compliance statuses, so that they can know where exactly they need to spend efforts in uploading the artifacts. And then there is a cybersecurity module where they can see within the cybersecurity across the period of 1 year. And let's take an example of ASV as an example over here, where they stand quarter by quarter. And right from there, if something is pending, if any of the ticket is customer action, within the cybersecurity services, they can click on the ticket and directly land on that particular and upload the respective evidence for that ticket.
I just want to add something here. Basically, this is more helpful for those organizations which are doing more than one certification and would like to show to their management, their board, their stakeholders, where do they stand in one screen. And that's where this consolidated dashboard is very useful. And many organizations who are doing these kind of multiple certifications are already leveraging this functionality within the Compliance Hub. So this is the last one, and you can take it.
Yeah, so this is about the analytics module. So to give some context, within ControlCase, there are multiple teams. Similarly, within the customer organization, there are multiple teams. So over here with the business analytics, we want to create that impact so that the customer should know where they delay in the certification, which team is not uploading the evidence. So let's take an example of missed due date by owner. So you can assign the question to the particular user and you will get to know where exactly there is a delay and where exactly the efforts are required in order to make sure the evidence are uploaded. Scroll down. Yeah. So then there are multiple other graphs like iteration point by task. So over here, you will get to know anything which is first attempt is clean in the first go. Then more than one iteration, we have designed it into high, medium, low category. So the idea, the objective over here is we want to bring in more and more efficiency within ControlCase, within the customer side. This milestone chart demonstrates that where do you stand year over year so that you can, what are the main pinpoint areas that needs improvement, and accordingly, this analytics module is available at your fingertips. So look at it, and this will help you improve to make the audit faster in the subsequent year.
Just to wrap up this, this presentation on technology, basically we have gone through phase 1 to phase 4 and how technology can leverage in each and every phase of this assessment process. But why do you want to use it, or why this technology is so useful? Basically, we talked about all different challenges for different kind of environments, different kind of organizations since morning. And the technology itself is actually, we started this, building this technology 20 years back, and it has come to a level where, there's a lot of iterations which have happened, a lot of feedback which we have got, a lot of experience we have gained from our customers while working with them. And that's where, a lot of these additions, right from automated compliance, evidence collection, or doing data discoveries, or adding the latest module, which is artificial intelligence for reviewing evidence, etc., which are there. It also brings the multiple standards together. It simplifies, or it actually makes it seamless for you by converting those difficult controls or clauses into simple English-like questions. And there's only one platform which you have to use. And the best part of it is basically you're not really extra paying for this technology. It comes as part of the certification services or cybersecurity services what you are actually taking from ControlCase. So that's all we have. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll just hand over the control to Suresh Dadlani. Thank you. Thank you.
So I think we need to have a very short break to have a cup of tea outside, and then please come in quickly for a group photo. They'll be ready with the thing, and then a little bit of felicitation. So kindly come in as quickly as you can, but not more than 10 minutes. There's a tea outside.
ControlCase is the global leader in compliance as a service and a trusted partner to to over 1,000 clients worldwide. We've delivered over 15,000 IT security certifications, including PCI DSS, ISO 27001, SOC, HIPAA, and GDPR, with a team of 250 plus security experts. Through a strategic scoping process, we define boundaries for your security certification, combining expert consultative services. Our innovative software accelerates compliance journeys with AI-powered evidence review, data discovery, and compliance scanner. Our expert cybersecurity testing services and partnership approach guarantee a seamless compliance experience throughout your journey. Our customized policies and procedures and engaging security awareness training strengthen your compliance foundation and transform your workforce into a security-conscious team. ControlCase's globally accredited certifications validate your excellence in security and compliance, while our cutting-edge platforms and solutions continue to define the future of IT compliance. Organizations of all sizes rely on ControlCase's certification and continuous compliance services to dramatically cut the time, cost, and burden out of IT compliance. Celebrating 2 decades of excellence and innovation in cybersecurity, driving progress and safeguarding the digital future. ControlCase is the global leader in compliance as a service and a trusted partner to over 1,000 clients worldwide. We've delivered over 15,000 IT security certifications, including PCI DSS, ISO 27001, SOC, HIPAA, and GDPR, with a team of 250 plus security experts. Through a strategic scoping process, we define boundaries for your security certification, combining expert consultative services. Our innovative software accelerates compliance journeys with AI-powered evidence review, data discovery, and compliance scanner. Our expert cybersecurity testing services and partnership approach guarantee a seamless compliance experience throughout your journey. Our customized policies and procedures and engaging security awareness training strengthen your compliance foundation and transform your workforce into a security-conscious team. ControlCase's globally accredited certifications validate your excellence in security and compliance, while our cutting-edge platforms and solutions continue to define the future of IT compliance. Organizations of all sizes rely on ControlCase's certification and continuous compliance services to dramatically cut the time, cost, and burden out of IT compliance. Celebrating 2 decades of excellence and innovation in cybersecurity, driving progress and safeguarding the digital future. ControlCase is the global leader in compliance as a service and a trusted partner to over 1,000 clients worldwide. We've delivered over 15,000 IT security certifications, including PCI DSS, ISO 27001, SOC, HIPAA, and GDPR, with a team of 250 plus security experts. Through a strategic scoping process, we define boundaries for your security certification, combining expert consultative services. Our innovative software accelerates compliance journeys with AI-powered evidence review, data discovery, and compliance scanner. Our expert cybersecurity testing services and partnership approach guarantee a seamless compliance experience throughout your journey. Our customized policies and procedures and engaging security awareness training strengthen your compliance foundation and transform your workforce into a security-conscious team. ControlCase's globally accredited certifications validate your excellence in security and compliance, while our cutting-edge platforms and solutions continue to define the future of IT compliance. Organizations of all sizes rely on ControlCase's certification and continuous compliance services to dramatically cut the time, cost, and burden out of IT compliance. celebrating 2 decades of excellence and innovation in cybersecurity, driving progress and safeguarding the digital future. ControlCase is the global leader in compliance as a service and a trusted partner to over 1,000 clients worldwide. We've delivered over 15,000 IT security certifications, including PCI DSS, ISO 27001, SOC, HIPAA, and GDPR, with a team of 250 plus security experts. Through a strategic scoping process, we define boundaries for your security certification, combining expert consultative services. Our innovative software accelerates compliance journeys with AI-powered evidence review, data discovery, and compliance scanner. Our expert cybersecurity testing services and partnership approach guarantee a seamless compliance experience throughout your journey. Our customized policies and procedures and engaging security awareness training strengthen your compliance foundation and transform your workforce into a security-conscious team. ControlCase's globally accredited certifications validate your excellence in security and compliance, while our cutting-edge platforms and solutions continue to define the future of IT compliance. Organizations of all sizes rely on ControlCase's certification and continuous compliance services to dramatically cut the time, cost, and burden out of IT compliance. Celebrating 2 decades of excellence and innovation in cybersecurity, driving progress and safeguarding the digital future. ControlCase is the global leader in compliance as a service and a trusted partner to over 1,000 clients worldwide. We've delivered over 15,000 IT security certifications, including PCI DSS, ISO 27001, SOC, HIPAA, and GDPR, with a team of 250 plus security experts. Through a strategic scoping process, we define boundaries for your security certification, combining expert consultative services. Our innovative software accelerates compliance journeys with AI-powered evidence review, data discovery, and compliance scanner. Our expert cybersecurity testing services and partnership approach guarantee a seamless compliance experience throughout your journey. Our customized policies and procedures and engaging security awareness training strengthen your compliance foundation and transform your workforce into a security-conscious team. ControlCase's globally accredited certifications validate your excellence in security and compliance, while our cutting-edge platforms and solutions continue to define the future of IT compliance. Organizations of all sizes rely on ControlCase's certification and continuous compliance services to dramatically cut the time, cost, and burden out of IT compliance. Celebrating 2 decades of excellence and innovation in cybersecurity, driving progress and safeguarding the digital future. ControlCase is the global leader in compliance as a service and a trusted partner to over 1,000 clients worldwide. We've delivered over 15,000 IT security certifications, including PCI DSS, ISO 27001, SOC, HIPAA, and GDPR, with a team of 250 plus security experts. Through a strategic scoping process, we define boundaries for your security certification, combining expert consultative services. Our innovative software accelerates compliance journeys with AI-powered evidence review, data discovery, and compliance scanner. Our expert cybersecurity testing services and partnership approach guarantee a seamless compliance experience throughout your journey. Our customized policies and procedures and engaging security awareness training strengthen your compliance foundation and transform your workforce into a security-conscious team. ControlCase's globally accredited certifications validate your excellence in security and compliance, while our cutting-edge platforms and solutions continue to define the future of IT compliance. Organizations of all sizes rely on ControlCase's certification and continuous compliance services to dramatically cut the time, cost, and burden out of IT compliance. Celebrating 2 decades of excellence and innovation in cybersecurity, driving progress and safeguarding the digital future. ControlCase is the global leader in compliance as a service and a trusted partner to over 1,000 clients worldwide. We've delivered over 15,000 IT security certifications, including PCI DSS, ISO 27001, SOC, HIPAA, and GDPR, with a team of 250 plus security experts. Through a strategic scoping process, we define boundaries for your security certification, combining expert consultative services. Our innovative software accelerates compliance journeys with AI-powered evidence review, data discovery, and compliance scanner. Our expert cybersecurity testing services and partnership approach guarantee a seamless compliance experience throughout your journey. Our customized policies and procedures and engaging security awareness training strengthen your compliance foundation and transform your workforce into a security-conscious team. ControlCase's globally accredited certifications validate your excellence in security and compliance, while our cutting-edge platforms and solutions continue to define the future of IT compliance. Organizations of all sizes rely on ControlCase's certification and continuous compliance services to dramatically cut the time, cost, and burden out of IT compliance. Celebrating 2 decades of excellence and innovation in cybersecurity, driving progress and safeguarding the digital future. ControlCase is the global leader in compliance as a service and a trusted partner to over 1,000 clients worldwide. We've delivered over 15,000 IT security certifications, including PCI DSS, ISO 27001, SOC, HIPAA, and GDPR, with a team of 250 plus security experts. Through a strategic scoping process, we define boundaries for your security certification, combining expert consultative services. Our innovative software accelerates compliance journeys with AI-powered evidence review, data discovery, and compliance scanner. Our expert cybersecurity testing services and partnership approach guarantee a seamless compliance experience throughout your journey. Our customized policies and procedures and engaging security awareness training strengthen your compliance foundation and transform your workforce into a security-conscious team. ControlCase's globally accredited certifications validate your excellence in security and compliance, while our cutting-edge platforms and solutions continue to define the future of IT compliance. Organizations of all sizes rely on ControlCase's certification and continuous compliance services to dramatically cut the time, cost, and burden out of IT compliance. Celebrating 2 decades of excellence and innovation in cybersecurity, driving progress and safeguarding the digital future. ControlCase is the global leader in compliance as a service and a trusted partner to over 1,000 clients worldwide. We've delivered over 15,000 IT security certifications, including PCI DSS, ISO 27001, SOC, HIPAA, and GDPR, with a team of 250 plus security experts. Through a strategic scoping process, we define boundaries for your security certification, combining expert consultative services. Our innovative software accelerates compliance journeys with AI-powered evidence review, data discovery, and compliance scanner. Our expert cybersecurity testing services and partnership approach guarantee a seamless compliance experience throughout your journey. Our customized policies and procedures and engaging security awareness training strengthen your compliance foundation and transform your workforce into a security-conscious team. ControlCase's globally accredited certifications validate your excellence in security and compliance, while our cutting-edge platforms and solutions continue to define the future of IT compliance. Organizations of all sizes rely on ControlCase's certification and continuous compliance services to dramatically cut the time, cost, and burden out of IT compliance. Celebrating 2 decades of excellence and innovation in cybersecurity, driving progress and safeguarding the digital future. ControlCase is the global leader in compliance as a service and a trusted partner to over 1,000 clients worldwide. We've delivered over 15,000 IT security certifications, including PCI DSS, ISO 27001, SOC, HIPAA, and GDPR, with a team of 250+ security experts. Through a strategic scoping process, we define boundaries for your security certification, combining expert consultative services. Our innovative software accelerates compliance journeys with AI-powered evidence review, data discovery, and compliance scanner. Our expert cybersecurity testing services and partnership approach guarantee a seamless compliance experience throughout your journey. Our customized policies and procedures and engaging security awareness training strengthen your compliance foundation and transform your workforce into a security-conscious team. ControlCase's globally accredited certifications validate your excellence in security and compliance, while our cutting-edge platforms and solutions continue to define the future of IT compliance. Organizations of all sizes rely on ControlCase's certification and continuous compliance services to dramatically cut the time, cost, and burden out of IT compliance. Celebrating 2 decades of excellence and innovation in cybersecurity, driving progress and safeguarding the digital future. ControlCase is the global leader in compliance as a service and a trusted partner to over 1,000 clients worldwide. We've delivered over 15,000 IT security certifications, including PCI DSS, ISO 27001, SOC, HIPAA, and GDPR, with a team of 250+ security experts. Through a strategic scoping process, we define boundaries for your security certification, combining expert consultative services. Our innovative software accelerates compliance journeys with AI-powered evidence review, data discovery, and compliance scanner. Our expert cybersecurity testing services and partnership approach guarantee a seamless compliance experience throughout your journey. Our customized policies and procedures and engaging security awareness training strengthen your compliance foundation and transform your workforce into a security-conscious team. ControlCase's globally accredited certifications validate your excellence in security and compliance, while our cutting-edge platforms and solutions continue to define the future of IT compliance. Organizations of all sizes rely on ControlCase's certification and continuous compliance services to dramatically cut the time, cost, and burden out of IT compliance. Celebrating 2 decades of excellence and innovation in cybersecurity.
Ladies and gentlemen, please get in quickly because we have only 20 minutes to close the sessions. And we have 2 things. One is felicitation and second is a group photo. So may I request, people who are outside, can you please come in quickly? Josh, where are you going? I'm asking people to come and you're going out. Come. Kamal, Nitin. Hello. Satya, please call people inside quickly. Is Vaibhav there? Vaibhav? Hello? Is Vaibhav there? Vaibhav? Who has that list? आपके पास है list? Fill station? नहीं, Vaibhav है किसके पास है? हम list है आपके पास fill station की क्या? उसमें किस तरह? I'll be calling. ठीक है मेरे को दो मैं पहले पढ़ लेता हूँ. Hello, so I think we are just about to start felicitation, where we have our clients and partners who have been with us 15 years and plus and 10 years and plus. And then those we'll be calling first, and then those who are 5 and above but less than 10, and those who are first time certified organization whom we are welcoming. So we will be giving the memento to all of them. So where's the list? So may I request Sriram and Uma from Genpact to please come in and receive a certificate of appreciation from our CEO, Mike Jenner. We are very proud of having you for 15 years plus, but quietly I will tell you I need more. 15 years? Plus, 15 years. 15 years. 15? Yeah, they have you have the list according to Genpact. Okay. One or two? Yeah. Come. Just one? Josh, you can come. Be with him. Let Mike give it. I'm sorry, I think for some reason last minute our bill desk could not come. So next one is National Bank of Egypt. Is National Bank of Egypt, NB. We have then Versos, our partner for more than 15 years, Mr. Ibrahim. Are you there? Please come in, Mr. Ibrahim, Versos. Mr. Ibrahim, we have a long partnership with Versos in Saudi Arabia, and we have been certifying Central Bank of Saudi Arabia through them for several years. So, Versos? KNET, we have colleagues from KNET. Then Arab Bank. 12 years is Arab Bank. Yeah. Please come. Arab Bank. Arab Bank. Eman from Bank Misra. Eman from Bank Misra. And then followed by EXL. So please be ready. Eman. Satya. Satya. Satya, come in. Hello, EXL. And after EXL, Explio solution to be ready. Explio solution, are you there? Yeah. After EXL. This is EXL. Aye. Explio solutions, again 12 years. From Imputronics. Are you there? Imputronics. And then Oredu. Oredu, Ms. Amedu. And now I request SMT after that to be ready. SMT. It's 12 years of association. May I request, please come. And then we have DCS after that, with 12 years of association. TCS after that, and then please come up. After that is Aceleda Bank Do we have a Asleda Bank? Asleda Bank is 11 years. TCS is 12 years. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. So I think I called Asleda. Yeah, Asleda. Shamla, can you come up? Come, please come. Asleda is 11 years. Come up. Card Zone, again 11 years of relationship, and this will be followed by Cypria Hotel. Do we have Cypria Hotel from Maldives? Do we have Cypria Hotel? Yes, Cypria was there. Cypria is there? Come. Next is e-finance. E-finance. I hope my friends from e-finance are here. And followed by Fabri Banking. Fabri, come. ICPS should be next, followed by IIAB, Mr. Tariq. ICPS. And then Tariq after that. Maya, pay Maya after Tariq. Come on, brother, come on. Maya, Praveen, are you there? Please come. And then we should have Etisalat, E and Egypt. E and Egypt. Followed by my good partner, Extreme Technology. Majid Al Futam after that. Carrefour, Majid Al Futam. Deepika, you locate them. Where are they? So let me cut a small joke that if you have 5 certificates, so totaling to 10 years, we'll also give you award. Yeah. Extreme technologies. Is Carrefour, Majid Al Futam there? PKF, Al Anna. Is PKF, Carrefour, any one of them there? We require, oh, PKF is there. PKF is my partner. A decade plus. Yeah, come on. State Bank of India, SBI, anyone there? No? Okay, we have Sutherland Global. Is Amit there? Yeah. And then followed by Tangent Solutions. Okay. Tangent Solutions. Is someone from Tangent Solution? Come up. Taskus, RBN, any RB? And after that is Taylor Innovate. Taylor Innovate. Followed by TDB Bank. TDB. After Taylor Innovate. Taylor Innovate. Trade and Development Bank of Mongolia, followed by Union Bank of Colombo. Is Ms. Misala there? Yeah. And then followed by Finsol. Finsol. Mr. Nisala, we'll call them. Mr. Sri Ram, and you can come for a quick photograph. Finsol first. Genpact for a quick photograph. Nothing is free. Second time. For the next 15 years. No, next 15 days. BCD Travel is BCD Travel for over 7 years of association. BCD Travel. Genpact. Exchange Gcash and then Prismalink. BIDV Vietnam, followed by DU is not there, I know. Tap Payment. Prismalink. Tap Payment. Vodafone Qatar. Sorry, first is Tap Payment. Vodafone Qatar. I thought I met someone. That's all. Vodafone Qatar, is someone there? Nobody. Okay, I think we have. So I think we can. Except for those who are not present, They were to come, they have registered, so maybe they found something attractive in Dubai. But those who are not there, we have finished our felicitation. Now, do we have first 1 year one? Do we have NB, National Bank of Egypt? So now we have only those who got certified for the first time, and we always welcome to the family when they get certified the first time. And then, of course, they have to wait 50 years. They start getting. So usually they will admit them. AB Bank, Mr. Buru? AB Bank. Okay. And then we'll have bonus hub. After that, we bonus hub. H switch. Bonus hub and H switch, followed by H switch. Sorry, Echo Telecom. I'm sorry, first Echo Telecom. Or you can come. I think it missed my H switch. They got 3 certificates in a period of less than 5 months. Give them a big hand. Echo Telecom, not bonus hub. Change it to Echo Telecom. Hello, who's changing this? Echo Telecom. Please, Echo Telecom, just wait. Echo Telecom, man. Okay. H switch now. H switch. Yeah. Column Bank. And after that is Just Pay. Just Pay. Movet Karthik to be ready, and then we have PT Harsaya after that. Just wait. Yeah, just wait. Is Mr. Karthik there for Movet? Oh, yeah, Mr. Karthik.
Move it.
Can we have PT Harsha Remitondo? Next, Qatar Islamic Bank. Can we have QIB? Okay, next TerraPay. Yeah, next is TerraPay. TerraPay. Then we have someone from Transcend Spaceall Private Limited. Transcends. Okay, next one is Zeta Services. Zeta Services, Prabhakar. Can we have someone from National Bank of Egypt, NBE?
Is ABS Bank represented there? ABS Bank, yeah, okay. I think as per our record, which is never 100% certain, if anybody is missing who was missed for 5, 10 or first year, you can meet Harman and we'll have them tomorrow, not today. We'll have them tomorrow, okay? But I think we have not missed anyone. We have not missed anyone. Yeah, Mike, I think, is looking forward to yacht dinner. Mike, you are free now. Yeah, all of us are free now. Hmm? Sorry? Ranjita, we have group photo tomorrow, am I right? Ranjita? Okay, so there will be a group photo tomorrow. So please come, and then somewhere in the first break, we'll like to have a group photo. Those who have to leave early, they can leave after lunch, because there's no session after lunch. Thank you. Chali, all the best. See you. I think, Kaushik, please come and give your wisdom words to people.
Okay, so we have to, just one second. Okay. We'll all reconvene just after, let's say, outside of this auditorium at 6:45, right? And the place, or let's say wherever we are going, it'll be cold. Please wear casuals. You can wear shoes and whatever, let's say, you want to, but it'll be cold. So please wear appropriate clothing. That's it. 6:45, just outside of this auditorium. That's it. Thank you.